now. But yeah, so we were just saying like my favorite pair of kind of boots. Oh, Dennis just texted me.
That's fine. But yeah, you should tell everybody your experience with the Belleville 950s. You can tell I know a lot about boots because I know the fucking model number of them. That's how shitty they are.
Yeah, they're
They're
so
fucking horrendous.
yeah, Dennis apparently wants to come on.
Oh, perfect.
So here, hold on. We'll see link. Yeah, so I wore the Bellevue 950s, the mountain boots, while we were shooting Reveille. Most of the time, I was wearing those, and
After
they
I warned you about them, remember that?
well, that was so long ago though, and
Yeah, it was. It was way back when you bought them.
right, and so I've been wearing them around like just shipping shit, which isn't bad. Like I'm out
They're
there
great
for
if you stand in one place.
right, and where the hell is Dennis? And so I wore them down to the set, and I wore them for many days, and they ate up my feet worse than any fucking boots I've ever worn in my life have eaten up my feet.
Yep.
Like it was
Told ya.
so painful and so bad. And I just showed Devin off the stream. Like the bottoms
Yeah,
of my
you
feet
guys
are
got to
still
pay more
peeling.
money for feet pics. That's for sure.
Yeah. But anyway, they were so like they just did not break in. Like I'm used to like a couple days of misery in boots, and you get them wet and all that shit, and they start breaking in, and they're good to your feet. These did not do that, and oh
Yeah.
my god, like
Well, they're
they're comfortable as
construction.
shit.
They're combat hikers. They're meant to be a kind of in between a hiking boot and a mountain boot. And so they got
Yeah,
a
well,
really thick, heavy duty sole. They got
yep,
a huge, thick rubber rand around above the
yes,
sole, which
yes,
doesn't flex at all because it's a really shitty kind of plasticky kind of rubber. And then
yeah,
underneath that rubber, you have a pretty thick nubuck leather, and then you have membranes. You have Gore-Tex.
yep,
You have a nylon liner. You have the
yep.
padding. You have tons of shit in this boot. You have so much material to try to flex through and bend through that it'll literally just destroy your feet after a
Dude,
while.
and it was bad because like I put on a lot of fucking miles on the set. Like, so where we were shooting for Reveille was like a huge place. It was
Yeah,
huge,
there's a lot of
and
walking.
and that you remember that one time that I forgot one essential part of kit,
And
and
you
I
had to
had to
run all the way down there.
do I sprinted the whole way, and it was a
And
quarter
that's a
mile down.
steep,
Right,
steep.
and it was a quarter mile down that bitch, and then a quarter mile back up. And when I got back, I just went and I grabbed the things that we needed, and then I just went back up, no pause. And so I'm sitting there, just even when you're in shape, you're gonna be huffing and puffing with a
Yeah.
half mile sprint, right? And I get up there, and then that night my feet were so fucked. I mean, so fucked. And
Yeah.
that's what I was saying is before we were just getting on here is like my favorite boots are the U.S. All black leather speed lace ones that they used through the late '80s through the mid 2000s, right? Because once you do get them broken in and you polish them and take care of them, A, they're never going to fall apart, like Devin said, and B, they're
They're
like
just like
wearing
a
heavy.
glove.
It's like heavy tennis shoes, basically.
Yeah.
You can sprint in them and they're comfortable. And if you want to put insoles in them, you can. And then but they break in around your feet. Like my boots that I have, my speed lace boots that I've been wearing for 6 years now, 7 years, they're broken into my feet. They're perfect.
Yep.
When I wear them, it's good. These Bellevue, what did you say the model was?
The Model 950s, the Belleville
950s.
950s.
The mountain boots. They
Combat
look
hikers.
cool.
They're not mountain bikers.
They're combat hikers. They're very comfortable. Very comfortable. Like when you're not actually using them in a
They
combat
protect
setting.
your feet from sharp rocks and stuff, but they're not
They
meant to
do.
move fast in.
Right. Oh my god, like it's just well, even just walking. So we put on I was figuring like I put on about 20 miles a day just walking around, like doing
Yep.
because I was a producer and a bunch of other things, but like I had to walk a lot, like back and forth and go grab things and drive and do all this shit and walk. Yeah, I really wish I would have worn my speed laces.
Yep, and I mean they're great for what they were designed for, like hiking up and down Afghanistan mountains, that shale mountains and stuff, because that shale disintegrated leather boots, like your speed lace boots. They disintegrated those. They disintegrated the desert boots
Right.
because they weren't thick enough. They weren't heavy enough. It's sharp rocks, you know.
And so we
And then they
basically
needed
had
the
to,
waterproofness because it would
yeah,
get so cold at
yeah,
night and wet and humid, you know,
yeah, yeah, you're done
and
at
in
that
a
point.
lot of parts of the country. So it was just a huge issue. So they developed those, and they went to a bunch of different companies. And I think honestly the best ones you could get were the Danner ones, which you could still get the civilian version of them. They're called the Crater rims. Um, the only difference between the military ones and the the Crater rims that you could buy from Danner now are the Danner ones come with red laces. The military ones came with black laces.
You could swap that out
That
easy.
that's it. Yeah. So, but I thought the Crater rims were better, and a lot of other countries who had mountain boots, like the Italians came with mountain boots. The French had their own mountain boots. The German mountain boots that the Germans were wearing, which they've had for forever, basically. Because you know all about the German mountain boots. They're like your Dutch ones are
Mm-hmm.
basically a German pair of mountain boots. That's what they were wearing over there, and that's a much better design than what the Americans
It,
got.
it, it
That,
actually it
so.
actually is because I've worn those and I've walked around in those are my winter boots, and
Mhm.
I was trying to go towards the American boots, the 950s,
Yeah,
just because whatever they were comfortable when I was walking, but like no, the Mindel like because from what I understand, most of the German mountain boots are actually made in the Netherlands by Mindel, right?
yep,
And the pair that I have is really good. I
yeah.
like those.
And
But I
Wendell
also
started making mountain boots. Like that's what they did. That was their thing when they started their company, was making mountain boots. So
well, you're right, and that's the thing is like here, I'm gonna send Dennis the link. Uh, really
but yeah,
quick.
and so like there was a lot better options. The French obviously had their own version of mountain boots that I think were actually made by Mindel as well. There was a lot of really good pairs of boots out there that were being worn, and the American ones really weren't. They had too many seams that weren't trimmed back on the inside. So like I'm a big proponent of, like, I tell people all the time, I'm like, I really like having a stock liner in boots. And a lot of people don't know what that is because it's not a thing people really do anymore. And so, like, it's what you imagine when you have a Gore-Tex liner in your boot. You see that little kind of herringbone pattern that they put in all the boots. That is
Yeah.
the Gore-Tex, and it's seamless. It's entirely seamless. So you don't have any of those
Hmm.
hot points, those rub points, those
Yep.
overlapping spots touching your feet. So like the boots I got issued initially were the Canadian Mark IIIs, and they have a leather sock liner.
Oof.
And so that way you don't have even the rough part, like suede inside, touching your socks, bunching stuff up, creating pressure points and hot points and stuff. You have smooth leather touching your socks and your feet. So then you have to fit it better, obviously, because you're going to have more movement because there isn't as much grip. But like if you fit them well, they last forever because now you have more layers of leather and stuff. And Dennis is here.
Yep. Does we're just talking about boots. Like I was talking about when we went and shot our movie in March. I wore a pair of like modern American issue quote unquote mountain boots. They're hikers, and my feet got chewed up worse than I've ever had in my entire life. Like bad. And we were just talking about like what boots don't do that, but what boots can hold up in that setting. So this is a cool transition. Now that you're here, you wore the jungle boots.
Oh yeah.
What was your honest opinion on those when you were there?
Well, they sucked because my feet are really wide.
So are mine. That's the problem. Yep.
Yeah, they really
So
suck.
yeah. I
I
was just
wasn't.
telling I'm sorry. It's freaking yeah, it's. I was telling Devin that, like, and I showed him. I'm not going to show it on YouTube, but like my feet. I've been back for a month now from that film shooting, and my feet are still peeling from how much
Oh, I
it
bet.
fucked my feet up. And I'm like, that's not a good pair of boots thing. Because here's the problem with those: they just never broke in. Like, because I wear a 14 wide, and even a 14 regular, they can break in. All right, they
Yeah.
can break in, and you can get that. These boots did not flex at all, and they chewed my feet up so bad, and it was just like it was so bad. And boots are very important for when you're doing things, as you know. And it's like, so we were just bitching and having a conversation about boots and like what is better and whatnot. And so yeah, jungle boots, yeah.
They'd last maybe a week in Afghanistan.
Well, yeah, they didn't last that long actually in them. They might have lasted longer, I guess. I don't really remember how many pair I went through, but yeah, you would get immersion foot because we were always in the water. There was water everywhere. And we would get immersion
Yep.
foot, and it was just like all your skin would just peel off, and it was
Ugh.
just very, very painful to do anything, Yeah, only walk, hike 5 miles that way. Well, the command and control helicopter is like at 6,000 feet, and all he can
Right.
see is little tiny lines going, but he doesn't realize that there's terrain in between us and there. We're having to climb up and down mountains, and he can't see. So what a mess it really was.
Yeah, and boots are it's a very underrated criticized piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody talks about your gear, your helmet's like, no, boots, if you don't have good boots as an infantryman, you're fucked.
Even
Like,
if you're not fighting, you're using your boots. That's the thing.
Right.
And I tell people all the
Right.
time, because it's my second most watched playlist on my channel, because I have a shit ton of surplus boots and I wear them all. And people always ask me, well, what should I buy? What should I look for? What should I do this? I'm like, you want as few panels as possible. Because the first thing that's going to fail is the stitching. All right.
Mhm.
Other than the laces, the first thing that's going to fail is the stitching. I'm like, so you want as few panels as possible. And you want something that's going to have a tread pattern for whatever environment you're in. I can't tell you exactly what's perfect for wherever you are. Everyone's like, give me a model. I'm like, well, if you live in the fucking Arctic Circle, that's going to be different than you live in the deserts of Saudi Arabia. I can't give you a perfect boot for that. You got to figure out what works best for you, but get as few panels as possible. I always tell people, don't get anything that has any Gore-Tex in it. That's dumb. It's a waste of time. Don't do it, because all it does is it ruins the breathability of your boots, and it gives more fabric on the inside to trap bacteria and gross shit that is just going to make your feet hurt even worse and be gross longer, and they're going to wear out faster. Get something, no synthetic liner if possible, all right? If you want a synthetic liner, I mean, sure, it's okay in some desert environments, but take care of it. Use your foot powder, keep it dry in there, try to keep the bacteria out of it, rotate your pairs so they're not... So the bacteria has time to die off, and the boots have time to dry out, and all that foam and shit. Because people will wear the same pair of boots every day, which is everybody for like 400 years has said don't do that, because it would be really stupid if you do. And people do it all the time, and I have to tell them that you're
Anyway,
dumb. Yeah, but like few panels as possible. I don't like a synthetic liner because you could just polish your boots. You can grease them if you don't know how to polish your boots. Just literally, if you make bacon one day, let it fucking sit out until it solidifies. And I don't care if you don't, or if you're scared of going to buy boot grease or something. Get something on there. Buy a tub of Crisco for fuck's sake, and just go over the whole outside. And then your boots are waterproof. You're done. You don't need a Gore-Tex liner. And
that's the thing too, is like, you were talking about, because when we were down there, Brian and Sam, my roommates, can attest to this. We came back from shooting every day, and my feet were it smelled like rotting flesh. It was disgusting.
Yeah, because your Gore-Tex.
Because of the Gore-Tex.
People say Gore-Tex breathes. And it does if you have like vents, like armholes, and around your waist and a neck hole. But in a boot that you're tying up tight, it does. So like having that rubber rand and all of that nubuck on that pair of Belleville 950s would have been more than waterproof enough without the Gore-Tex liner for 90% of situations, unless somebody's like, hey, you go pull guard duty in that puddle that comes up to your knees.
Yeah.
Then it doesn't matter if you have a Gore-Tex liner or not, you know? So like,
so Dennis, with the jungle boots that didn't have a Gore-Tex liner, but you still got your feet wet constantly. How was the smell?
Oh, it was horrendous. I mean,
Yep.
you know, absolutely horrendous. They because it was 99 and 99 every single day, 99 degrees, 99% humidity. And the humidity would just kill you, man.
Yep.
It just would, you know, everything would drip down and fill your boots, even if there was no water to be stepped in. Your boots would still be completely full of sweat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really disgusting.
Fair, but you had all those vent holes. How'd the drainage vents work? I tell people all the time, I'm like, they're great for water. They're awesome till you like step in a mud puddle or something, and then those vents are just choked.
Yeah.
So,
right.
And so they work really good if you have time to clean them and stuff with a toothpick and you poke all the fucking holes out and shit. But like,
yeah, there was always mud, and it was just like completely encased your foot. And that was, you know, as a combat medic, my number one concern was immersion foot, you know, for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just, there's nothing I really could do about it.
Gotta have that foot powder now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, that would just turn into glue.
Fair.
In your foot. You know, you'd end up trying to take your boot off and it wouldn't come off because it was glued to your foot. You know, it's just wow. Crazy.
Yeah. And people don't realize, like,
that's really, you say that because it's so humid in Vietnam. It was humid as fuck. And when we were in Iraq, it was so dry that we couldn't tell that our feet were fucked up, you know, until you start, you know, and it's like foot powder worked to an extent if you used it, but then it was just like, it would mix with your sweat and it would dry instantly and turn into that glue too, but it wasn't as thick. Exactly. It was just like this. It was just this constant, like it was a really hard coating. And that's why I stopped using foot powder. And it was like, Jesus Christ.
The only good thing about it was it did knock the smell down, you know, quite a bit.
It kills the bacteria. That's the thing about foot powder. So
everything smelled. I mean, if you couldn't use soap because somebody could smell you from 2 miles away. You know, if you use soap, they go like, "Hey, wait a minute," you know. But if there was rotting stuff everywhere, and all of a sudden you smelled something fresh, you go like, wait a minute now, you know, there's something wrong. And usually it wasn't our guys that was thinking about the something wrong.
Right. But, I know what you're saying. It's like, there was a cool thing that, my friend Brian is writing about the Korean War. And a lot of the GIs in Korea said that they could smell garlic before the Chinese would be on their position. They're like, do you smell garlic? Like, oh shit. And then all of a sudden the Chinese army is coming over everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit. So smells are very important. And also we have a question here really quick from one of our regulars. So Dennis, what about the mesh soles in the jungle boots? Did they help at all?
No. And we had steel plates on the bottom of ours, you know.
Yep.
So you know, nothing helped. Nothing really did.
No, there's no good solution really for the jungle other than to just wear sandals and have your feet be used to it.
Yeah, that was it.
That's why the Vietnamese did so good. That's what they wore. They wore sandals made out of tires.
They made them out of tires,
Yeah.
And inner tubes. You know, it's just like amazing. So we started wearing those things as well, you know, and we cut the crotch out of the pants because you'd sweat so much that you end up with crotch rot, you know.
Oh God.
So, so you have to, you know, just cut the crotch out of your pants. Ain't nobody around anyway. Who cares, you know?
Yeah.
And that way, if you had to,
and you don't ever wear underwear. Ever.
No.
I tell people that all the time, and I'm like, in the infantry, I'm like, no, you never wore underwear.
Yeah. even in Iraq, like it was
You
we were
wore
free
as
balling
little
all the
layers
time.
as possible in the hot. Like sometimes you didn't even have your undershirt. You'd just be wearing your blouse.
Yeah.
'Cause it's so fucking hot, you know?
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's insane. Like, but that's the thing that people don't think about, and like that's what Devin and I we like just talk about these things. And boots, number one, and yeah, the way you wear your uniform too is like very important, and
Yeah.
what your uniform is made out of. And so when we were in Iraq, we had two types of uniforms we could wear. We had the 50/50 nylon cotton ones, which were the garrison uniforms. Like everybody gets issued those. And then
Sure.
when we got to Iraq, we got issued the frac U's, we call them, flame retardant Army combat uniforms. And they were Nomex, and then what, Devin, you know this composition.
Poplin, aramid, and cotton.
Yeah, so they're mostly cotton though. I remember that. And
yeah, they're like
and it was
50%
cool.
cotton in the mix. The rest is a mix. Yeah.
Right, and it was like they were still stronger than the jungle fatigues like you wore, Dennis, but like
Yeah.
they also weren't, because they last about maybe a month or two, and they're so weak and faded that it's like, okay, I need a new one and all that stuff. But they were more comfortable. You were able to
Thinner.
be in the heat more. Yeah, and then also with those, you could wear the 100% cotton undershirt, because like the ones they issued us, Dennis, oh my god, they were 100% polyester, right?
Ugh.
Go into a hot fucking the undershirts. Go
Didn't
into a hot
breathe at
fucking
all.
environment, dude. Prickly heat, you know what that is, and it was like
Yes.
all the time. It was prickly heat. It's like fuck. So they actually they allowed us to wear this like greenish 100% cotton undershirt, and that made all the difference. They lasted maybe 3 weeks each, but it was so much more comfortable, and it breathed a lot better, because we had a very dry heat, as I think we discussed before. You had a very humid heat, but it's still heat, and it's like your body has to get rid of that heat somehow, and it just so
Well, at least they decided to give you the frac U's, because people were, all those IDs were blown up, and all that heat would just melt your fucking polyester shirt and your nylon uniform right to your fucking skin.
Right.
And then they have to skin you alive to treat your fucking shrapnel wounds.
Right,
and,
right.
That was a big problem. That's why they came out with those.
Hey, it only took them 6 years to figure that out, though. So
it did. Well, no, it only took them 4 years. Well, no, 3 years or possibly 2, but it took that many years of development.
Yeah,
because
it was like you don't start seeing those to like 2006, 2007, and
right, because we were getting issued those, and most of the guys that were in my unit that had been deployed before were like, "What the fuck are these? They're nice, they're lightweight, but like, what are these?" And it's fucking
because they had to
insane,
skin people to treat their blast wounds, like literally.
Right, yeah, because it melted. Them. Yeah, yep. And it's not good. But and here's the thing: is like I like the Vietnam jungle fatigues, the 100% cotton. What were your thoughts on those uniforms, Dennis?
Oh, they were fine. I mean, I was used to, I came from Arizona when I joined the Army, so I was like really, really used to super high heat, but dry heat. I wasn't. I got in country and I was like burning. I was burning shit for 2 weeks because to try and here I am. I'm a combat medic, and they're gonna like have me. Oh yeah, here's these cans of crap. Now pour diesel in them and set them on fire.
Yep.
I'm like, what? Don't you need me for something else? No,
I'm a doctor, not a shit burner.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I did that for a couple of weeks, and then we moved up north. So,
but like the uniform itself, like the 100% cotton ripstop uniform. What'd you think about that?
Never gave it much thought. I had to wear it, so I was going to wear it. But when we were in the field, we would just wear them completely out. They would be shredded and completely sweat stained, and we get some strack officer come in, to visit, and they take one look at us and go like, "Holy crap! What the heck is wrong with you, soldier?" And I'm going like, "Nothing wrong with me, and it's going to be the same thing wrong with you in about a week if you last that long."
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. And they
so out of uniform. No, this is my uniform.
Yeah, it works. It's
What are you going to
protecting me.
do? Send me to Vietnam?
Well, unfortunately, yeah, cotton just disintegrates. It breathes really well, it dries quickly, but it fades fast and it disintegrates.
It disintegrates, it shreds. Yeah. Yeah, really
So
did. But we didn't
that's
care.
why they got synthetic fibers after Vietnam. You started seeing put all that nylon in there. So
Right, but then you sacrifice your durability or your lack of durability for strength, and you also sacrifice your breathability because, like, man.
But depending on your environment, though, you're also getting water and wind resistance because of that.
Kind of.
It takes you. You could be out in a heavy rain for like 2 more minutes before you get wet.
Dude, no, that shit got saturated as fuck. Like,
fair, it takes longer to dry though. Is the problem? You get a resistance, but it takes longer to dry.
Yeah, that's the problem, and it's like with cotton, it's like the uniforms wear out fast, so they get shredded. Okay, you're gonna spend all this money anyway on a war. It's something as dumb as that.
But like, it also was a big thing where like the nylon holds dye better.
It does, it does. Does not
get a camouflage uniform. Having that synthetic fiber in there allows you to maintain the integrity of that pattern a lot longer.
Okay, that's fair.
So you're getting more durability, and you're getting your pattern to retain longer. So
yeah, we didn't have patterns, so it didn't really matter.
That's fair. I mean, I've got a really faded pair of Erdls in there, so
the camis, but it's still like, I think the U.S. really fucked up going to synthetic fibers in their actual uniforms.
Well, I mean, they used 100% cotton through Desert Storm, though. You could see some of the desert uniforms from certain contractors in 100% cotton. So
okay.
But unfortunately, that wasn't the Army and the Marines. A lot of the 100% cotton uniforms you see are contracted by just the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
So
they've been in a lot of danger since the Korean War too. So
well, that's probably why they're like, we don't need the nylon. We'll take the comfort. F it. So,
it's still like it's insane. Like who makes the decisions as far as a military contractor?
The people holding the checkbook.
And like Dennis said earlier, it's the guy at 6,000 feet. He doesn't know. He doesn't give a fuck. He doesn't know exact. These guys are at 30,000 feet, and they're just like, oh, UCP, like they're
UCP, not even at 30,000 feet. They're in a fucking desk in Washington,
which is we're
looking at a monitor,
wearing a suit and a tie.
And so you're like, Dennis, like UCP, the shit that I had to wear, like the gray digital shit, that was approved by many people.
It passed like a shit ton of committees.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're gonna be wearing light tannish gray into a fucking combat deployment?
It's universal, Mike. It works everywhere. Don't buy into that propaganda.
Yeah.
Yes, it works everywhere. Yeah, I've seen it work everywhere. It's fun.
I'm not going to stop saying it's the best camouflage in the world until somebody proves me wrong. That's all lies and slander.
Yeah, of course.
Fuck. I'm Bravo Crunchy. Yeah, he fucking Bravo's on. Yeah, I was deployed with him. He's just a fucking troll, but he's fun. But yeah, so yeah, let's talk about because you and I were talking about this last night for briefly. So Tubby said, Dennis, your list of South American Mausers from this past week was impressive. I agree.
Yeah,
it was good.
There were really cool things. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think people often underrate South American Mausers, and they just go, "Oh, they're South." It's like, well, they were made by Mauser Oberndorf in Germany. Like,
yeah,
they were made, and they were. Yeah, it's a Mauser. It's an actual Mauser. And
can you tell me Can you tell me what Mauser's a bad Mauser? Like for the time it was like made or bought, can you tell me what Mauser's a bad Mauser?
Spanish 1916 Mauser carbines.
No. They fuck that. That's a Spanish thing. Tell me a Mauser that's made by Mauser. That's a bad Mauser.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what was made in Germany?
A lot of them were made by DWM, which, you
Yep.
know,
Mauser.
became, yeah, it was a Mauser factory that was
Just
in
changed the
Berlin.
name. Yeah.
You know, it turned out to be called Mauser Borzigwald during the Second War, you know. And I went to visit the location because I knew exactly where it was. I went to visit it, and the Russians had done such a good job eradicating it from the face of the earth, you know, that
As they
it was,
tend to do.
yeah, I know. Beautiful, wonderful.
Out of
I
it,
knew
ship
what they
it
looked
back,
like.
and burn it down.
Oh yeah, and you know, bulldoze it over and you know, build stupid, ugly buildings on top of it.
I mean, to be fair, they did that with their own country as well, not just you know, not just the countries they took over. So like, yeah. But so Mike, there's no bad Mausers. Is that what you're telling me? The actual Mausers made by Mauser?
They were made in Germany. I'm still trying to think.
Well, the Gewehr 88 was.
That's not a Mauser. It's the Schlegel mill.
It's not a Mauser.
Yeah, well, they actually were made by Mauser. I mean, but it's a commission rifle.
Yeah,
it was designed by committee, and that's just really a wrong thing.
But
so
the only thing it took from Mauser was the flag safety.
Yeah.
So does the flag safety? So we can evaluate that. Does the flag safety, the Mauser part of the commission rifle, work on the commission rifle?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
There we go. That checks out. That math tracks. Then it sounds like Mauser's got it figured out. So yeah.
But everybody calls it like they
call it a Mauser.
8mm cartridge, the 8x57 cartridge. They call it 8mm Mauser, and you know Paul Mauser would roll over in his grave if he
was a 7mm,
because he didn't have anything to do with that cartridge. That was designed by committee.
Yeah,
and it's a crappy cartridge, but they went with it for a long time.
Wasn't Mauser's cartridge a 7x57? That was Mauser's cartridge.
Yeah, the first one actually was a 7.65, true.
Yeah, 7.65. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they designed the 6.5x55 and then the
7x57.
The 7x57. You know, and those cartridges are fantastic.
Yep,
they are
fantastic. You know, and like we had a bunch of Swedish Mausers on this list, and everybody went absolutely bat crazy. And the horrible thing happened. Our server had an upgrade, you know, and about a week and a half ago. And what they did was they put this kind of limiter on my website where it would refresh to the public about every 4 hours or so. So here I am. I'm selling things.
Shit ton of time.
Yeah. They didn't understand how it worked, how we work. I would sell something. I listed the things. Nothing was ever marked sold. So when I sold it, I would mark it on the website, upload it to the web page, and assume that that's what people could see. But
it
that's
would
not
take 4 hours.
Yeah. After about 2 hours of going crazy, one rifle, I had 82 orders for one rifle.
Wow.
You know, we had 12 orders for the 41B sniper, the Swedish sniper.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't giving it away either. But I had 12 orders for that damn thing. And I had like multiple orders, dozens of orders for almost every single gun on the list until I finally got a hold of my server, you know, and said, what the hell? And they went and looked at it and said, oh, well, you know, there's a little bug in here that it's not a bug. It was meant to protect me and everybody else from getting a virus or whatever. And I said,
well, like your website hasn't been running fine for however many years.
29.
Yeah. And nobody's complained so far.
Yeah, but they're just trying to you know, they're trying to make, you know, toilet paper that doesn't work, whatever.
Well, they're trying to tell you that they're doing it for security when in reality they're just throttling you back probably because they make more money off of you then.
Well, they weren't going to make a dime off of me unless they did exactly what I told them to do, and they did what I told them to do, and now it's working perfectly again. But I don't know if they were just trying to save money or trying to, I don't know what the heck.
Probably trying to pull the wool over your eyes.
Well, there was going to be something pulled over their eyes. I'll tell you that. I was furious.
Yeah.
Let me just say that my wonderful wife, Deb, learned a whole bunch of brand new words and phrases that she had never heard before.
Oh, all the 4-letter words, I presume, right?
Oh, multiple combinations of them and some very creative. I lived in England for a long time. I know how to curse you out without you even knowing I'm cursing you out, and I can also curse roundly in about 20 different languages. And boy, I was doing a real good job of it. And so much that she like, I had to shut all the doors, and because it was warm here. I know that's foreign to you guys, but it was pretty warm here, and I had the doors open and nice breeze and stuff. And there were people walking around outside that were going like, "Wow, what the hell is going on there?" So she had to shut all the doors and make sure the windows were all shut and turn some music on pretty loud so that she didn't even have to listen to it. But
I can get it. And you don't seem like the kind of guy that just flies off the handle that easy either. So like,
I'm not. I've got a really, really even temper. It's just. Fair. It's crazy.
But if you reach a point where it's like you're fucking with your livelihood and your thing you've had going on for almost 30 years, well, a little bit different.
Well, it was inconvenient. I got about a little over 2,000. I thought it was more, but a little over 2,000 emails that I had to answer in a space of about 4.5, 5 hours. Oof. So I was getting 20, 30 emails a minute of orders, many of them for the same gun, and the first guy gets it, and then everybody else. I had this little,
copy paste,
that answer. I hit a little button that I push and say, "Sorry, that's already sold." Sorry, that's already sold. Sorry, that's already sold. But and then or you got it, and they got another button.
Well, I've gotten the sorry it's already sold a few times. That's fun.
Yeah, I know that sucks.
I haven't come it's also yet, good. Unfortunately. But hey, at least you got rid of your list. Your like wait list for buying stuff. I saw that, right?
Yeah. We finally did that.
Yep. I figured it was coming eventually. So
the problem was it was a wonderful idea, and it did work. It did work for about 25 years.
Yeah, when stuff was more available.
Yeah, when stuff was a lot more available, but. The problem is, and seriously, this is very, very, very difficult. But the problem was that we would sell immediately at least half of everything that we bought.
Yeah.
And it was always the nicest things and the rarer things would sell right away. With a phone call.
And you get all the scraps left over,
I wouldn't take a picture of them. I wouldn't do anything like that. I just tell them exactly what it was and how much it was. And they'd say, send it to me. And that would be it, And I never, not once, ever got a return. Tens of thousands of guns. And I didn't get a single return of somebody saying, well, this is misrepresented or anything, But from our want list. But the consequences of that is that people would say, "Oh, you don't ever get anything really, really nice. You just get common or lesser quality things." And I'm going like, "Well, no, that's not true."
There's a want list for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah, but they, I literally had in Tulsa, for instance, I literally had a couple of customers come up to me, and they saw a couple of things I bought, and they're going like, "Holy crap! You never put these on our list." I said, "Yeah, I know. They're going to be already sold as soon as I get home." And they said like, well, we always thought you were lying when you said like, "Oh, I've had 5 of those in the past year." And they're going like, "Well, I didn't see 5 of them, so they didn't exist,
Well, I mean, to be fair, stuff's on your site for 10 minutes anyways.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, so like, who the hell cares if you've actually seen 5 of them or not, or if there's a want list or not? if you're not there for that 5-minute window, who cares?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, that's why one of the big reasons that I decided, because it was getting in my head, and I've got too many things to concern myself with. But
fair. And this way,
to
everyone
deal
gets a
with
fair
that.
shot at it. So
yeah, this way at least people will know we actually do have that stuff. I mean, I had somebody tell me, well, you never have any Swedish snipers. I'm going like, well, yeah, I mean, we sold 6 of them last year and probably 20 of them in the past 3 years.
well, they're
And
just
going
not
like,
that
no,
common
you
compared
didn't.
to like a regular M96.
Yeah, it's a regular M96, except for they turn it into a
Well,
sniper
like you
using
get how many thousands of M96s sold
yeah.
for every
Oh, I know.
sniper, you know?
Yeah, we're going on our. I think it's close to 15,000 M96s that we've sold.
Dang, I still got to get one before they get
96s or 38s. You know, at one point back in '92, I guess it was, or '93, I had bought. I'd end up. I can't say I bought them. I ended up having to take these things instead of money from a company that will not.
Oh, I think I remember you telling that story the last time I was on with you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was just
you got
17. I had 1,700
of them. Yeah.
and nobody wanted them.
Yeah, and you
And they
went to go talk to the ammunition manufacturers because it wasn't
Right,
so hard
exactly.
to find.
That's
Yeah.
what happened. Yeah.
So,
But yeah, I mean,
6.5 Sweet is so common. Like, it's so good. So like you're probably just like me, where all these people are getting into all their 6.5 Creedmoors
yeah,
and stuff, and they don't realize how it's literally 6.5 Sweet that's shorter.
right, exactly.
It's almost the same ballistically too.
Yeah,
Like it's not like this has been around for over 100 years.
yeah,
And you guys didn't care to do the math or look at it, you know?
yeah, 125 years, you know.
Yeah, and everyone's like, well, 6.5 Creedmoor, it's the new hot shit, you know? And it's like, well, it's 100 years old. It's 130 years old almost, you know? If you look at the math, and I tell people that, I'm like, you're dumb.
Well, the 6.5, more elephants have been killed with a 6.5 cartridge than any other cartridge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
nice and flat, goes real far. What more do you need?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I don't know about you, I don't want to get close to an elephant. F that white noise. So yeah, not
I
that
have
I shoot an elephant, but
I have, and I wouldn't want to do it again. So
yeah,
but
I mean, I
You're in
understand.
Africa or India when you did that.
Yeah, and
they
had some in Vietnam as well. So.
Oh yeah, I suppose it's.
Yeah,
they're all over in Asia.
Yeah, I was talking to a guy that was in Vietnam who said that they were out doing some shit. They were out in the bush and he heard like some rustling or some shit, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey," his buddy's like, "What the fuck's going on here?" Like just hand signaling, and then a fucking tiger came out and like just about nailed him.
Fucking tigers! Yeah, I've told people that before too. They like that story of how it would have been my stepdad's uncle was in Vietnam. He said they used to tie each other together at night with like paracord. So that way, if somebody would get attacked or move or something, you'd feel it. Right. And he said it was during a monsoon. And so it was like, he felt a huge jerk on his rope. And he's like, what the fuck is that? And he looks over and the lightning strikes and a tiger is like eating his buddy, like just mauled the shit out of his buddy. And he's like, holy fuck, you know, like, yeah.
That's not good. Yeah. That's not good.
I don't like cats and in general, like they, you know, that big fucking things. Like, I don't need that. I'm already worried about getting shot or like scalped or like dying of drowning or something like that. I don't need fucking tigers to be in the woods, you know? Like, what is this? The goddamn.
We had orangutans
too.
The orangutans were really more dangerous than tigers. But
really?
Well, yeah, they're mean.
And they're real strong. They can rip your arm off and beat you to death with it, you know?
They would come after humans?
Yeah, sure.
And they know how to. They know that, like, to go for the throat, and they, like, try to rip your junk off and stuff because it's a weak spot. Yeah. They know that.
Exactly.
So.
They know what the weak spots are, that for sure.
Well, that's
Yeah.
not good.
No, they're
Jesus.
smart. That's the thing. A tiger's a fucking tiger. You know, it's a kitty. If you put a cardboard box out there, you're safe from them. You know, but like an orangutan, they know to like, yeah, they know to like go for like your Achilles tendons and your throat and your
Well,
junk.
wasn't Joe Rogan talking about something like orangutans or chimpanzees? Like they know what's fair and what isn't, and they keep track of that. And like at zoos and stuff, like they completely destroy. I forgot if it was an orangutan or a chimp, but like they completely destroyed this guy because he gave food or something. I'm probably butchering this, but like they gave food or something. They treated another orangutan nicer than this one, and then it ended up killing him. And it went for his cock and balls, and then it fucking killed him. And
Yeah.
it was so it was like they could think, but they were out there in the bush though in Vietnam.
Yeah, it's the jungle.
Yeah. In the high jungle.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And
I'm glad I wasn't in Vietnam then. Jesus Christ.
yeah, and we had lots of snakes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
lots of
that I've heard about. Like
tree vipers.
The
like
one
that.
that it was I forget the name of it. You probably know this, but like it was a little green one that was not very big, but like guys, yeah. What was it called?
Well, we called them 3 steps because that's all you could get. If one
Right,
bit you got 3 steps and you were dead.
Yeah, and they weren't very big. They were small and they were green.
Very small.
So,
yeah.
So they stood out well against the lush green background. They stood out well. But like I've heard accounts of like they said, yeah, these little snakes, they were not that big, but they bite you, you're fucked.
Yeah, totally.
Damn.
But they usually bit you like around the face or neck, and it got to your system really, really fast. If you got bit in the foot, for instance, it wouldn't be that bad, but
right. Okay.
I was sneaking and peeking and laying low, and I had snakes crawl on me all the time. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm not any danger to you, so just go on. I'm not going to eat you.
You
so
just make on your merry way. You do you, and I'll do me, and we won't do each other.
That's right. But yeah, some of the guys especially the darker guys in country, they would freak out about snake. Oh man,
I mean, it still happens. There's people that freak out about snakes and spiders and shit like that. Like I don't know if anyone can be afraid of a spider. Like especially
we had lots of spiders too. Like anything and all sorts of bugs. I got bit so many times by mosquitoes that they don't even bother with me anymore. Just like every inch of my skin's already been punctured by a mosquito bite. So
yeah, fair.
It's like, okay, nah.
And you said you got malaria while you were there?
Several times, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Several times, just nonchalant,
just casually. A lot.
Yeah. And I'm the one giving out malaria pills to everybody and taking them too, but they didn't do any good.
Right.
What the hell,
Well, it's like a peace of mind thing. Yep. Well, yeah. Let's not get the chance or not get the stream zapped by.
Yeah. Well, the jungle just kills everybody that's not a tree. So I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah. And it kills trees too.
Yeah. It kills the trees too, just slower. There's favoritism.
It's so cool, like being able to talk to like because like the World War II vets, it's cool to talk to them, but like it's a different kind of I don't know, social.
Wait, are you trying to convince? Are you trying
to
tell me?
Shut up, Devin. So it's from a different social kind of era, whereas us talking to Vietnam vets, we're pretty similar in a lot of ways. Like as far as the way we talk and everything, and the way we can swear and just describe things, it's not as like different. I mean, World War II vets that I've talked to, they swear and stuff when they get into that mode, but like. It's cool, but it's also very interesting how different our experiences were because, like, you were in a really hot, humid jungle environment, and Devin and I were not. We were more of kind of an arid
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in a fucking.
Our enemy was often like 20 or 50 feet away, and yours was, like considerable distance.
Thousands of yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the
Yeah.
time I got there, it was just them hundreds of yards away taking pot shots with indirect fire. A lot of the
Yeah.
times, that's what it was. It was. Have I said this on a stream before or told you, Dennis? Like what the insurgents would do in Iraq with
Well,
mortars?
About how there's no way we would ever win against any of those fuckers because they were way too fucking smart for our
Right.
own good.
Right, but like, have I ever told? No, I just can't remember if I'm repeating myself. So here's what they would do, Dennis. Is they knew we had this blimp system, like this
thing.
this camera set up above the base, like the we were a fob within a base, blah blah,
right.
and there was this camera system that would pick up where the shot would come from, the IDF shot would come from, and they would zoom in, take photographs, and follow these guys back to their house. Then the SEALs or whatever would go out and get them, or QRF or whatever, and they got smart. So they would start, because Iraq is 100. The most I saw the wet bulb at was 140 degrees in the shade, and in the sun it was like Jesus Christ, like I can't even imagine. So it was fucking hot for a couple weeks in late July and August, and during that time these fuckers would smart, because I would do the same shit, would set up mortar tubes, and they would try to position them as best as they could to our location.
Yeah.
And they would take a big chunk of they'd take a chunk of ice and they drop it down these mortar tubes. Okay. They drop the round on top of that. And they would beat feet or go set up a couple more, depending on how hot it was. And so you'd hear that thing, boom. And it's like, okay, let's get these fuckers. They're gone. They've been gone for like 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Because
the ice melts.
Then when that ice melts, the ice melts. It would hit the round and then hopefully go off, and it did a lot of the times. And it's like, wow, that's ingenious.
Yeah,
I really can't be mad at these guys. Even when I was there and like enduring it, I was like, I cannot be mad at these guys. Like, that's really smart.
That is really smart. There's no way we were ever going to win with the rules of engagement they gave us to play with.
No.
There's no way we were ever going to win that. I mean, unless we're going into it shooting everybody, literally everybody, there was no way we were going to win that.
Nope. There's no way. And it was so stupid, but it was like, it was like, when I was there and like I heard about this through guys that went out there, and they said, yeah, there's water along the base plate all the time that we do this. We get out there within 5 minutes, and that's about when the water starts drying. But they were like, yeah, they told us this. They're like, yeah, they're taking ice and putting it down, whatever. I'm like, while I was over there, I'm like, I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad, because that's really ingenious, like, to think about that. So
credit where credit's due.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good thing. And did they do any like weird shit like that with you, Dennis?
Well, there was like, they'd spring a trap on a trail.
Mm-hmm.
You're never supposed to be on a trail anyway, but of course it was the easy way.
Yep.
So they'd spring a trap on a trail, and if you jumped off the trail, there'd be these punji sticks smeared with crap in them, in the ditches. And so you'd get pierced by a punji stick, and that was ingenious. I thought, I thought that was, damn, but we would think up all kinds of crazy stuff if somebody invaded our country. I'll tell you what, it would be very, very, very
exactly. And that's what I'm saying is like, you gotta, like, that's what I did when we were there, and I heard about this. I was like, so that's why they're going off in the middle of the day. And I'm like, I would be doing the same shit. Like, I'd be figuring out creative ways to, destroy. And so you become not empathetic totally, but like you understand. You're like, that's smart.
You get the mindset.
And it's also really fucking scary. It's also very fucking scary.
You've seen all the burner phone IEDs, and here's the shitty part. A lot of those burner phones actually used French SIM cards. Because
They were
France, so like all the ones that we found, a lot of them had French SIM cards in them, these burner phones.
Oh, yeah.
that they would get to call IEDs, because France actually has a lot of Muslim populations because they controlled Libya and Morocco and everything for so long.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So they got all of these people that are sympathetic to their cause to send them all of these SIM cards, garbage bags full of SIM cards. They'd go into phone stores and department stores and buy thousands of SIM cards.
Yeah.
And send them over. Cargo containers of SIM cards. And so like almost every phone we found would have a fucking French SIM card in it that would be used for either just calling or whatever, and it setting off
We're triggering an IED, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They used a lot of those.
They did so much weird stuff, like to the point where like they would purposely, because I don't know if they did this in Iraq a lot, but the Afghanis, after every firefighter engagement, they would drag off all of their dead. You never got a clear number of how many you actually killed.
Well, they would, because here's the reason why, is because in the Muslim faith, if the body is not buried whole, it cannot ascend. And it's like, that's why like it's a big thing to behead somebody and then put their head somewhere else, because in their view it can never ascend. And so but they would make their best of that. And I'm sorry, go ahead. Yep.
But then there would be some people that they would designate, or people that I would assume sacrifice in their religious faith for this cause, where they would plant bodies after a firefight. Like they would have one from a previous firefight, and they would plant them with false information or put mines, like anti-tank mines that they replaced the fuses on, like the switch and like pressure switch and shit on. So like guys would go out and be like, holy shit, we just hit the jackpot with intelligence, and then a fucking anti-tank mine goes off.
Right.
And because they would like bury it just beneath the body before the firefight, and then they'd start the firefight and they'd run off and they'd be like, oh, we got one. They didn't get this guy. Let's go see what he's got. And then they move the body and then, a 20-pound fucking anti-tank mine goes off. And that's enough to like disintegrate an entire squad. Like if you're in a reasonable distance of this, like how you are when you're looking for information and evidence and stuff, because the firefight's over and they've deemed it clear, you're not worrying about spacing all that much. And if an anti-tank mine goes off in a ravine or a crevasse or something, oftentimes they would put these, and that throws up all this debris that then bounces off the walls of this canyon or this crevasse and then reflects all that blast immediately back into you. Right. You can kill a lot of people from a decent distance away.
Sure.
And they were ingeniously smart.
Yeah.
To the point where it haunts your dreams. So
we didn't have such good high tech stuff in Vietnam like that, as far as the enemy used, but they did use some pretty nefarious stuff. But I was constantly, whenever we would spring an ambush or something, I was constantly yelling for people not to bunch up, because you never knew what was around. We just made a lot of noise. Hello, somebody knows we're here. Spread out.
You're telling me that this invasion's been going on for a while and they knew about it?
Yeah, really.
No, that's the thing is bunching up too is like what I've noticed a lot of the images coming out of that Eastern European country that hopefully don't get zapped is I've noticed a lot of the Russian soldiers reacting to contact. They're bunching up, like they're really close. Oh, yeah. And I'm like, you guys have no fucking clue what you're doing.
Yeah. It's kind of like they feel safer in numbers, but the opposite is true, They want close contacts with their buddies, hey, are you okay, buddy?
Yep. And they just bunch up and like their react to contact is very interesting compared to like what because like even when I was going through, basically we were still learning Vietnam era tactics, right?
Yeah.
Don't bunch up, don't do this, don't do that, blah blah blah. And it is relevant in like the current theaters to an extent, but it's like the ideas of don't bunch up. That's the biggest thing, is like stay the fuck away from your other guys.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right. Stay the fuck away from them during contact. Stay the fuck away from them. Be within earshot and like you can see them, but stay the fuck away from them. And the Russians nowadays, they're literally like their shoulders are touching when they're in a position of cover, and I'm like, oof, that's not good.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Well,
yeah.
You look at the most previous recent Russian engagement we had, which is the annexation of Crimea. They didn't act anything at all like that. A mere 8 years ago. That was in 2014. And that's because the Russians sent professionals. They're professional soldiers in to do it. A lot of the people they're sending into Ukraine have 4 weeks of training, and they're conscripts.
And yeah, conscripts. I mean, I've seen videos where they'll have a bunch of captured Russian soldiers, and they'll be talking. They'll pull a mask off of them. You got a sack over their head. They'll pull it off, and they go like, "Hey, where are you from? The Donbass. And what do you do? I mean, are you a soldier? No. I'm a French teacher. I'm teaching French in high school."
Mm-hmm. They're taking these people from the Donbass region, which, by the way, for those of you who think the war in Ukraine has just recently started, it's been going on for over 20 years. They're taking people from this region that is very Russian sympathetic. So a lot of these Russian soldiers aren't even actually Russian. They're Ukrainian.
No, they're Ukrainians.
And they're conscripts. They're everyday people.
Yeah. They were just told that
like Russia's fighting so bad. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, no, that's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we were talking about earlier, though, Devin, is like, why would you do that? Like, okay, to where?
Because they're just sending Ukrainians to get killed by Ukrainians. It's still a drain on the country's resources.
Yeah, but still, it's like it's also okay. I guess it's to
if these conscripts, which are their own countrymen, kill even 1% of the professional Ukrainian army. That's 1% of the professional Ukrainian army, the professional, well-trained Russian soldiers who have been fighting wars in counterinsurgency operations since the 90s, like in the Caucasus and stuff, that are battle-hardened soldiers because they have been fighting, are going to come in and meet that much less resistance and not having lost anything for it.
All right, so counterpoint to that, and Dennis, we'll get your input on this too, is why would they do that? Because now they've got a bunch of Ukrainian people who, I understand wearing them down, making them think they won the victory, and then coming in and fucking punishing them. I get that whole that theory and the concept, right? But now these Ukrainians have a shitload of combat experience
against conscripts that don't know anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So there are people that aren't noise disciplined, that are bunched up. What happens when now they get into people that have night vision and thermal vision and radios and understand spacing and can actually make a shot at 800 yards,
Yeah.
Then what do? You go in expecting to fight all these conscripts that can't hit anything at 50 meters, and they're all bunched together, and you kill them with one rocket blast. And now everybody's heads are exploding around you from somewhere you can't see.
What do you think, Dennis?
That could certainly happen. I do know that the Russian dogma, the way that they are trained, the soldiers, they're told basically you don't think for yourself. An officer tells you what to do.
Yep.
I knew Simo Haiha, the Finnish sniper, and he told me that, he would pop a couple of officers first, and then all of the soldiers that were not officers will be standing there going like, okay, somebody tell me what to do. And as he's shooting them, they're going like, Tell me what to do. You can't do anything unless an officer tells you to do it. You can't wipe your butt until an officer tells you to do it. Literally, you can't. You know better than to try to retreat. Oh man, you'll get shot for retreating.
Fair.
You know better than, because you haven't been told to retreat. You haven't been told to go to the left by an officer. So you just stand there waiting for somebody to tell you what to do.
Yep.
And that was literally, how 1.6 million Russians got killed in 105 days in the Winter War.
Fair. And they fixed that, though, during Russia's Vietnam, where they invaded Afghanistan in the 80s.
Yeah, Afghanistan, sure.
They went under that. Everybody understands the command structure, and if somebody in that command structure falls out from the top, it immediately goes to the next person, and everybody in the detachment knows who that next person in charge is.
Well,
so
that's how it's supposed to work.
They learned.
That's how it's supposed to work, but under the strain of combat, and trust me, it's strainful.
It's different for sure, but
they
know what they're doing, and like
incredible. And I still think that there's a bit of that going on.
Oh, for sure.
I've spoken to Russians, so I went to Russia like 40 times, from 1977 until basically 2002. I went to Russia a whole bunch of times, and I talked to a lot of soldiers. I mean, I would just talk to them, and I asked them about their Makarov that they've got, or if they were policemen, they were probably soldiers too. And I'd, so I'd sit there and talk to the cops, and I'm a pretty talkative person, so I would ask them all kinds of pointed questions, and they would answer me, I asked this one police officer, what year is your Makarov? And he's going like, oh, I have no idea. I've never fired it. And he said one guy said he fired his 3 times, but he was only given 16 rounds of ammunition. And he was told that he should never, ever, ever shoot that gun unless he really had, because he had to count for the ammunition every time they inspected him.
Yep.
And
unless it's a life or death thing, but nobody in the country had access to guns unless you were in the military or way out in the plains,
or a police officer,
Yeah, the chances of you needing to use it in self-defense were pretty slim.
In Viborg, I asked a guy, a policeman, like about his Makarov, because I like Makarovs. It's my favorite pistol, And I asked him about his Makarov, and he pulled it out of his holster and handed it to me. And I went like, oh, wait a minute, don't be handing me your sidearm. That's just not right, And he goes, oh, I'm not worried. It's not loaded. I never load it.
Oh,
he says, I have a loaded magazine in this pocket that if I need it, I'll remove the empty one and put this one in. But but it's not loaded.
That was the doctrine, actually, was to not keep it loaded. So
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or in Israel, always kept the barrel empty.
Yep. I don't think they are going to send those kinds of people in, though, if Russia ever actually decides to invade Ukraine.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to send in their best guys first, like everyone else does. And then you send the regular infantry in behind them to clean up whatever the best guys didn't miss after all the hard points are broken up. And move on from there. But right now, it's a lot of Ukrainian conscripts that are sympathetic to Russia in Russian uniforms and equipment fighting Ukrainians.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see.
So,
we'll see. It's like,
and that's
it's
kind of where the cluster is coming from. But there are definitely. I mean, I know a lot of Russians. We were going to St. Petersburg in a month, but not going to happen, of course.
Yeah.
But we were going to visit a bunch of friends of mine and stuff, but right now they are being watched on what they can say and who they talk to and everything.
Well, they're close to the border of a lot of other countries. I could get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing too,
and they don't get the kind of news that we get.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's exactly. And
Definitely.
They don't know what's going on.
my macro level analysis is that people think that the Cold War ended in 91.
No, it
It
didn't.
did not.
It just transformed.
It
The
was
name
renamed,
changed and everything
rebranded.
moved
Yep.
around a bit. That's about it.
And so that's the thing is like this is still a Cold War thing, and why they're trying to take Ukraine? Well, because they're culturally similar, and they think that you know.
I don't
Ukraine
think they
is always
want all of Ukraine. I don't think all of Ukraine was ever the goal.
no, but they want the Russian.
They want the Russian
quote-unquote.
sympathetic portion.
Right.
That's it.
And then it's like, okay, then we're good. But then it's like, okay, well, we've seen this before in history,
Yeah.
right? So
You
is that going to
start
stop?
giving people what they want to appease them, and the next thing you know, they're shelling New York.
Well,
Yeah.
So,
maybe.
yeah.
Like until it gets to that point, I would say we should not get involved directly.
I don't think we should touch them
Because-
until we realize what's actually going on here. And here's the
Yeah.
thing: Ukraine knows what's actually going on, and Russia knows
That's-
what's actually going on.
Well, here's
And
the thing,
why
too,
aren't
is I
people
was-
telling us?
Yeah, and I was going to say is
There's no way
my
after
former-
20 years that somebody on the Ukrainian side doesn't know what Russia wants.
Right, but like so in 2018 or 19 or something, my platoon leader that I had in Iraq, right? He was a captain or a major at that point, and he was in Ukraine for a deployment.
Sure.
And I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting." Well, I didn't know what was going on exactly, and whenever at that point, I was just like, "Yeah." So Russia invaded part of Ukraine, blah blah, and then but they've had so much NATO backing and support militarily, like the goods that are being sent there. That's why, even without NATO involvement, I think that's why the Ukrainians have been. Even though you say it's all Ukrainian conscripts, which I don't believe is true, I believe they sent in a bunch of
100%. The vast majority of the people that are dying, though, aren't Russian.
Mhm.
right. But here's the thing: is like I'm very positive that Russian troops have been there and have gotten their asses kicked by these Ukrainian guys who have had training from NATO forces, specifically Canada, the U.S., France, and Germany. Who have been there since 2014 and have been advising these people. But here's the thing: is like, is this another Vietnam?
No, because we're
You
not
know?
sending anybody until it kicks off. That's the difference.
Right, but like, is this another Vietnam situation though, where it's like, yeah, we've been advising them for years, and then it kicks off, and then
No,
we
I
get
feel like this is
involved.
going to be more like an Israel thing. Like, people are just going to dump money and resources into them until they win. Because ultimately, you could just keep fucking pumping money and resources into somebody. And if that side, because it's all, every war now is just bean counters. Who cares how many people you kill, and shit like that? Because you're going to run out of ammo and you're going to run out of guns and you're going to run out of shit before you can kill everybody, no matter what. So if it's like when Israel in like the 50s, when they had whatever dozens of fucking countries declare war on them, and America and Britain and France just dump fucking money and World War II surplus and tanks and fucking everything into them, until there was just so much shit behind them, there's no way they could lose, because all of these Arabic countries couldn't make bullets fast enough. The U.S. is dumping it off by the boatload. They're basically crashing those fucking ships full of ammo into Tel Aviv and not giving a shit. Like, here you go. We don't even want the fucking boat back. Just kill as many people as you can, Like, and that's basically how it's going with Ukraine. You've seen it. I've seen it. Everybody's taking every useless piece of garbage they fucking have for the last 30 years, and they're just dumping it in Ukraine as fast as they can, because they know that's what's going to save Ukraine in the end, is the fact that Russia's not going to be able to pay for the shit to keep up for what they're losing. It's not really the people, it's all the stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. And like, it's.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a Vietnam. I think it's more of an Israel situation, because there's so many countries behind the Ukrainian side. There's no way they could lose, because modern wars, bodies don't mean anything. People are always going to be banging, making new bodies. There's always fresh meat for the grinder. All right.
Right.
But like shit costs money. It doesn't cost anything to have a kid if the government decides it doesn't cost anything to have a kid, you know? But it costs money to make an assault rifle that works. It costs money to make a tank that works. It costs money to do all this stuff.
So what happens when Russia sends in their professional troops then?
I think we see a huge push, but like I don't think Russia's ever going to send in their professional troops. They basically already have the areas they want. They're just securing that.
So every 5 to 6 years, like yeah. Sorry, Dennis.
No,
go ahead, Dennis. Go ahead.
I think you've got a point, but I don't think that they're crazy enough. They might be. Who knows?
Well, if they take all of Ukraine, they know they can't win that because everybody in NATO is going to jump on.
Yeah, and we should have learned a long time ago. I mean, the Brits learned in 1776 that America, you invade a country and you're the invader, you're going to get your ass kicked, pretty much. And it was, that lesson has been learned a lot. I mean, the Russians learned it in Afghanistan.
Yep.
We also learned it in Afghanistan. Hello.
Yep.
It's
that home field advantage definitely hits a little different.
Yeah, of course. You got nothing to lose, And
the problem with this is that part of Ukraine was at one point Russian home field advantage as well during the Soviet Union. They know what regions are sympathetic to them and they know what they want. And I don't think they want all of Ukraine. And there really isn't anybody that thinks they want all of Ukraine either, except for Ukraine crying to everybody else. Like, we're going to all die if we surrender or do whatever. Russia doesn't want all of Ukraine because they know the second they take all of Ukraine, they lost. NATO jumps on them, they lost. That's how it works. They're not that stupid. They want their sympathetic regions, and then they're going to inchworm their way across it eventually over the next however many years they decide is enough to keep everybody from jumping on them at once to get what they want. So,
yeah. Well, I feel real bad because a lot of the footage that I've seen of Ukraine, in Lviv especially and Kiev, I'll look at that restaurant and go like, oh hell, I've eaten at that restaurant,
Yep.
I've been in that square and I've done all the, it's really kind of shocking to me because I've been there a bunch of times, but not lately, thank goodness. But I was there in I guess the last time was in 2013, just before the nastiness came down.
Yep, before the whole Crimean thing.
Yeah. But hell, I was in Crimea too in 2013.
Yep.
But buying guns, believe it or not. Woo.
You could have been Russian if you would have waited a little while. But
no, I bought a lot of guns from Russia. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, fair. Well, but I mean, if you became Russian, think about all the Mosins you could have.
Oh, yeah.
Warehouses of Mosins. They'll even throw you in a Hind jet engine for free.
Russia actually doesn't have any Mosins anymore. They were actually all stored in Ukraine.
They're all in Ukraine, yes.
Yeah.
I know, because I've seen enough guys in trenches with modern Kevlar helmets and body armor on, pissing down Mosin barrels to get mud out of them.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh.
Well, they do that because it's to wash the corrosive ammo out.
There you go. Turns out that's the key. Is if you just pee down the barrel, it takes care of it.
That's right.
It'll neutralize the salts. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
If the internet gets really shitty here, we got storms that are headed over my house.
Oh, I suppose that's coming in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get that little wave.
I thought you were gonna have this last night, and you said it was gonna be really stormy and.
Well, yeah, it's so here's the thing is, Dennis, it was 70 fucking degrees today.
Yep.
Yeah.
In late April here. Yep, 70 degrees and very humid. I'm like, there's a storm a brewing.
Yeah.
So
And this is
we got
like
that.
perfect tornado making weather too, because it's been so
Yep.
cold up until just today.
Yep. And so we've got that nice warm Gulf air coming up through Louisiana and Kansas and Missouri and
good,
Iowa.
just what I want. Smell from the armpit.
Mixing with that cold Arctic air. Good shit. But, there's lightning and shit. But I'm just letting you know, if the internet gets shitty, that's or shittier than what it is.
Shittier than what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you just got to get Starlink, Mike. Come on now.
Well, yeah. I've had on order for over a year now.
They'll get it out to you by the time we're all Chinese.
So I'm about to bring Bravo on. Bravo Dennis, guy that his name's Jake.
Oh, great! Now everyone knows his name.
Oh, it's Jake. It's a very uncommon name, and I'm sorry to have doxed him. But it's I'm about to bring him on, and he's just a cool guy. He likes guns and shit. But we were deployed together in 2009. He was deployed earlier in 2005 and 6 in Iraq. So yeah, those storm clouds, man, those things came on quick. Just looking out the window, I'm like, it's like nice light gray sky, and then
angry dark sky. Yeah.
Yep. Here we go.
Oh,
lightning is starting, but so I'll
it's black out here, back here, down in Florida.
Woo, windy.
Florida.
Yeah.
Shit. Let me check the radar really quick. Let me see what we've got happening here.
Oh, boy.
Nothing.
And then I'll bring I'm sorry, Dennis. I'm like a weather nerd. Like, I got the shit scared the hell out of me so bad when I was a kid, and we didn't know what was going on.
That you still watch it now.
And so, well, no, I have to watch it because it makes it okay. Well, for fuck's sake, come on.
Yeah,
I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building. All right. At least you have a basement to run to.
I don't.
You got somewhere to go. You're closer to the ground than I am.
I just got some unsettling news. We had a cruise hooked up for early next year, and it was going from Singapore, and it was going to Thailand to Vietnam, and then leaving out of Hong Kong. And I hadn't been back to Vietnam, so.
You haven't gone back yet?
You haven't?
No. But I have a lot of friends from Vietnam, but
you're gonna actually do it though?
I was. They've pulled all of the cruises because China is making noises about Taiwan, and they're afraid they're pulling all the cruises.
Well, China's making everything all over the fucking Southern Pacific Ocean, basically.
Yeah.
So they're getting uppity about everyone being so close to them. They don't like it.
So you were gonna go back to Vietnam, and then China fucked you out of that?
Yeah. Just recently, a couple days ago.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, bullshit. And plus,
it is bullshit.
And we were going to St. Petersburg, and I got screwed out of that. So,
jeez,
instead of those places,
you got to stop booking trips because everything that you seem to book turns into a war zone.
Well, we're going. I just booked today. We're going to Jordan and Egypt.
Oh gosh, you hear that, Israel? Get ready.
Yeah, really. I've been to Israel a bunch of times.
I've only been to Israel once, and it was pretty nice, actually. It was a fun time.
Yeah. We're going to Israel in October. So, but this is in September. We're actually going to Petra in Jordan and Amman. We're flying into Amman and going staying about 4 days in Jordan. And then we're flying to Egypt, and we're going to go to the ancient tourist thing we're going on a cruise up the Nile River for 4 days. So,
well, shit, don't get stuck in the Suez.
Going to end up in Abu Simbel. So,
yeah,
that's
really cool.
Nice. I've been there. I've been to Egypt a couple dozen times, but Deb's never been there. So
Yeah, it's. I'd like to go there someday too. It's my grandma went there when
well, I
she
was
was
an
78.
archaeologist. It's like
Yeah,
Oh.
exactly. And yeah, you were saying that. And
Yeah.
my grandma went there when she was 78, and
Ah.
she rode a camel at 78 around the
Sure.
pyramids, the Giza
Well, to be
pyramids.
fair,
And
a camel's got a pretty smooth ride once they get up.
yeah, still she was 78, man. Alone,
They're
by the
mean
way.
bastards, those things. Yeah, they really are.
Well, there's
look at
Bravo.
this.
Oh my God. Flounderhead.
Hey,
I think I'm having
trying to
some
figure out the sound.
audio issues.
Uh-oh.
Yep. You fucked it up. You fucked it up.
Yeah, I'm having some audio issues here. Let me figure this out.
We can hear you just fine. Yeah.
Yeah, but he probably can't hear us just fine.
Yeah, I can hear all you guys on the stream, but I can't hear you on StreamYards.
Oh, so there's a delay. Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I'll be right back anyway. Like the little thunderstorm has passed. So I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Oh, geez.
And I hear myself on the stream too.
Oh, even worse. You've got to turn up your headset audio and turn down the stream audio. That's all right. Me and Dennis got it figured out. Turns out headsets suck, right?
yeah.
Once you get your audio balanced all great, you don't have to even worry about the headset.
I like headsets though.
That's all right. Mike likes his headset too. That's why there wasn't a stream last week. So it's literally the only reason. And you guys should all give him shit for that because me and Mike A did. So we were gonna review a bunch of pictures. We do this thing where we go through with all these like different historical pictures and look at them and try to figure out what's going on and who's wearing what. And Mike's like, "Oh, my 10-year-old headset has problems." Oh, really? And I was even like, well, we waited half an hour for you to figure this out. Get in your car and drive 2 minutes to the gas station and get a pair of earbuds if it's that much of a concern for you. And he's like, nope, not going to do it. Not going to do it. And I was like, well, then I guess it's not happening. Is it, Mike? Is it?
There we go. I got it fixed.
Oh, there you go.
Yay.
Look at that. And he's gone. And, of course, Mike's gone once you figure it out.
Of
Mike
course.
Yeah. Well, that's Mike.
That's Mike. Yep, you know. You know. You know.
I can't say I know Mike better than you guys, but I've known him longer, so
That's fair.
It kind of balances out.
That's fair.
That's too bad for you.
Yeah, it is.
That's fine.
Honestly, while he's not here, I can say nasty things about him. He used to be a really, really big asshole dick. Like
I don't understand.
Like his ego was bigger than his britches could hold.
You mean used to, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
like
he used
that-
to. He
No,
has
but it
mellowed
still
out
happens.
with age.
That still happens. His pants have just got bigger. He's just filled them as his pants have got bigger, with more
Didn't
ego.
we all after we got out of the military?
I actually
there
got
was
in
a-
better shape after I got out of the military. I got
There was
bigger.
a lot
but,
of
like, in a
cookies
good way.
after I got out.
I got bigger, but in a good way. Well, I
Yeah,
went right into a very labor-intensive job, so
Ah,
that helps.
I went right into trying to get a degree that I'm not using.
The American dream.
oh,
Yeah, right.
how many of those do you have? I've got two.
I just have the one. I couldn't afford to go for more.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez. That damn GI Bill, I tell you.
Right?
Yeah.
I still have a student loan.
Wow.
Oh, I never had one of those.
Yeah,
You
but
know, I don't get it. My two daughters want the student loans to be eradicated, and I'm going like, why? You know, you're the one that borrowed the freaking money. Pay it back.
That's right.
I would go as far as saying let's get rid of the interest on the student loan, so you pay back what you borrow. That
That's
would
not
be
how
an
banks
acceptable
make money,
compromise.
though.
But it's not the bank lending the money, though.
Yeah, it's not.
Oh, that's not how the government makes money.
No, the government makes money by asking the Fed to print more.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
right.
don't make more money that way. The money just gets more worthless.
Well, that's par for the course for the U.S. federal government.
That's fair. Worst thing we ever did was get off the gold standard. God damn it,
Yes.
Nixon.
Did you see
I-
that?
I
Did you see
agree.
that Putin has actually got like a 5-year plan to put Russia back on the gold standard?
Well, he pulled Russia out of the entire Soviet collapse, so he's re-pulled that country out of being in absolute turmoil on the verge of collapse before, basically single-handedly. He'll do it again.
Yeah, I literally saw this like 2-3 weeks ago now that he announced that by 2026 or so he wants to have the ruble back on the gold standard.
That'll be make it a really strong currency if he manages to do that. Because there's only
Yes.
a handful of currencies that are still on the gold standard, like the fucking Swiss franc,
Swiss franc. You're right.
which is why it's so fucking steady.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, there's only one thing steadier than the Swiss franc, and that's the prices on 8x56 rimmed Mannlicher ammo. So, they've been the same price for damn near 10 years. So,
That's because nobody wants it.
That's not
how
true.
dare you? I have so many boxes of 8x56 rim.
Huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
you have a lot of boxes of 8x56. Can I blow you?
Yeah,
Away?
I'll let you do it for a box of 8x56 rimmed.
Deal. Deal.
That's right.
Now the real question is the brass reloadable, and can you get the dies for it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
But nobody likes to shoot the M95s because they hurt.
Oh,
I know, right?
Oh, Dennis rolls his eyes.
Oh gosh, that's what everyone ever tells me. It's like that thing kicks like a mule.
oh, poor
Learn how to
baby.
shoot.
More
Learn how to
How
fun
many
for the
mules
real
are
men
there?
then.
Kick
Yeah.
by? You know, how many
If you
mules
don't
are
leave
there?
the range-
It does kick quite a bit.
It does hurt, but a lot of that is
If you
not
don't
because it
leave the
has
range
to-
with a bruised shoulder, you did something wrong.
That's fair.
That's right.
But like, it's not that it has a particularly harsh recoil. It's just how the ergonomics of that rifle are.
Yeah, it's very thin, very long.
Very
And
linear.
very-
Everything's
yeah.
in line with the action, and then
Bam.
the high points of the butt plate are where the two bolts are. So it
Yep.
focuses all the recoil into two little dime-sized spots on your shoulder. And then
Yeah.
it's actually a fairly hot round.
How does it compare recoil-wise to a lever-action Marlin shooting 45-70?
Depends on how long of a
About the
barrel you have
same.
on that Marlin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Dennis said, like about the same.
Yeah.
They're pretty rough, actually.
And also 405 grain hog loads out of said Marlin.
Well, these have 208 grain service loads. So
Yeah. Yeah,
and then you
208
can
grain.
get even heavier for hunting ammo.
Yeah, with jacketed ammo, a 208 grain bullet out of a Steyr M95.
A 30-inch barrel, yeah. Or
Yeah,
if it scoots in, it's a fucking 19-inch barrel.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's
The long
rough.
barrels are really actually a pleasure to shoot. You know,
Yeah,
really. I don't own one, but I've had, many of them. So I
The
think
more
I got
mass
one
there
right
is
now.
in the barrel, the less felt recoil you have.
Well, it's a pencil barrel. The whole thing's fully
Ooh,
wood encased. Yeah, because it's a tiny little light pencil barrel. That whole rifle only weighs like, without any ammo in it, it's only like 7.5 pounds.
yeah,
It's
it's
like
not
barely
bad for a
more than
service
men-
rifle.
Well, the carbine is.
Yeah,
The carbine
it's like,
is.
well, yeah. There, even the long rifle's like just over 8, and it's 52 inches long.
That's still
Yeah.
not bad for a service rifle.
Most service rifles of that day are 9 to 10 pounds. It's a whole pound lighter.
Yeah.
Well,
For
the
a full
M4
woodstock
completely.
service
The M4
rifle, that
completely.
barrel's like microscopic.
The M4 completely stripped down 7.5 pounds,
Yeah.
and that's only got
Yeah.
a 16-inch barrel and
Yep.
and a tiny little cartridge.
Yep.
So
So
Hey,
how
Bring
about-
it on.
Dennis, did you guys ever fuck with like the XM177s and all that stuff?
No, not really. I saw a couple, but
Mhm.
we never had any. You know,
Yeah, right on.
I mean, we had the original M16 with the vine snagger. You
The
know,
3 prongs.
yeah, the three prong flash hider and no forward assist or anything like that. You know, it's just
Ooh,
like,
the slab sider.
Oh,
Look at that.
nice.
Yeah.
The forward assist isn't necessary.
yeah, well,
In Vietnam, it is.
it was for a while there.
Yeah,
for
when the
us,
army decides to change your ammunition on you and not tell you about it.
with the ball powder. Yeah, exactly. But
Hey, you lowest bidder. Lowest bidder.
exactly.
Lowest bidder and then try to Jew them down from there.
Yeah, that's how it works. And now we're doing a racism. Apparently, that's going to get the stream pulled.
That's I don't whatever. It's
It
We're
was
just having-
already
I can't tell you how
demonetized as
much
soon as this
flack-
showed up.
I can't tell you how much flack I got for making the same joke. You know how many people that like, I live in Israel. I'm like, well, sorry, it's not my problem. Convert. You know? And I just went full in on it, and eventually people caught on that it was a joke. But like, there was a lot of people that were very upset about it. That I said, they're Jewing me out of some money, and I was like, I just said that casually because it's like something I grew up with, and everyone's like, how dare you be that insensitive to our culture? And I'm like, well, stop Jewing me so much, and I wouldn't have to say it then, you know? Like, so,
Dude, I've met a lot of Jewish
point.
people who like you say that joke in front of them, they're like,
Yeah.
they laugh because it's funny.
Well, here's the thing:
Yeah.
99% of people understand I'm kidding and that it's funny. But
Right.
like,
That's the thing is like it's
Yeah.
a joke, not a dick. Don't think it's so hard. That's the thing.
that's fair.
Seriously, it's the same problem that we have with just society as general. Everybody's offended on behalf of somebody else. Like if it doesn't
Right.
apply to you, you can't be offended by it.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
had a classmate, Asian classmate. Somebody told an Asian joke, and the only person who was offended was a white girl. The Asian girl
Right.
was laughing her ass off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually how it works out, you know.
Well, it's
Oh
just funny,
darn!
like,
You didn't try hard enough because they're supposed to be upset because we're still sore about Pearl Harbor over here.
Are we?
Yeah.
That's the joke of it. Like, yeah, it's just funny. Like, making fun of everybody is fucking hilarious.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
everybody should be able to make fun of everybody. Like, I don't give a fuck.
It's
And
even more than that, Mike. It's even more than that. You should be able to laugh at yourself.
That's what I mean by everybody.
Yeah.
Yourself is included in that. Like,
Yeah, but,
like, yeah, I always say like I'm this fat man tit owning fucking ogre, and I'm only 31. Like, yeah, I should probably get in shape. Well, yeah, your body shape is very unfortunate. It's
fuck off.
We've talked about this. We've talked about this. Yeah, Dennis,
My legs go all the way to my armpits. Leave me alone.
At least Dennis has earned his body. Like at least he's earned it. We haven't done shit to earn it.
My son is right back there right now. So
Good, he's gonna be getting good lessons for life. Like, let's do
yeah,
this.
exactly. Yeah.
But no, I just like it. Yeah. No. So Jake, have you ever you have any experience with Empire Arms or Dennis?
No, I haven't. This is the first time
All
I've
right, cool.
even,
That's great. That's
even
good.
been introduced to him.
Yeah.
You mean there actually is somebody?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Like, so yeah,
I've tried to
Dennis
buy
is,
stuff
This
from
guy.
Dennis so many times.
yeah, that's the
I don't
problem,
have
like,
any
you
money
and
to
I-
spare. I'm too busy buying it on John Deere, spending my money on John Deere stuff.
Oh well, there's your problem right there. So
Well, I live out in the middle of nowhere. I have to have something to, do.
we gotta buy for International Harvester. At least they made M1s. Come on now.
yeah.
I actually don't have an. The only thing that I have is I've got a circa 1925 Mosin X Dragoon, and I've got a remanufactured, re-arsenaled 1903 A3. Those are my only war guns.
Those are pretty nice though. There's some good choices.
Sure.
That's also why I brought you on, is because you don't know who Dennis is, which is good. Like, it's
Which is
fun.
good. Yeah, that's not how
No,
I'd like to open that
Right.
sentence. Come on now.
We can just shoot the shit. Like, but yeah, like I told you, Dennis, Jake and I were in Iraq together, and blah blah, and yeah, he's a very deep-seated redneck hick from Wisconsin.
I live almost in the
that
exact
describes
middle of the
all
state.
of the Midwest, Mike. You just described all of the Midwest.
Right. So yeah, it's fun. But no, so Dennis, like little short thing. If you, I mean, you were watching, and I was thinking he was in Vietnam. He came back, and he's also a race car driver, and
World traveler.
he's also a musician, which is fun. Like,
Oh,
so that people might not know that a lot about you, Dennis. So
That
which
was
came
fun.
first?
What sort of musician?
Play guitar.
Okay,
And yeah.
so not like jazz or anything like that.
dude, I'd pay money to see
not
Dennis
exactly.
whip out, a Duke Silver-esque saxophone solo.
No, so yeah, but
Or Jerry
no,
Mulligan.
Yeah.
but no, Dennis, race car driver, and your musician career. You have a pretty impressive career, which is interesting.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, if you
I
want to talk
don't
about
let
it,
grass grow under my feet.
right? But like, it's
Yeah.
yeah, okay, but like a lot of people, like in the stream, like not just us, but like a lot of people don't know that you're not just a gun guy. You're not just a Vietnam vet. You've done
Right.
so much besides that, and your
Yeah.
music career, like, because we've talked on the phone a lot. And you've talked about who you've met and what you've done and who you've worked with, and that's actually really fucking cool. So,
Who's the
Yeah.
most famous person you've met musician-wise?
Famous
yeah,
or infamous. But
Yes.
Either, both.
well, I've met just about everybody that,
yeah,
everybody that in a certain era, but
yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't want to go there, it's fine. But like the racing days, like that's pretty cool because Bravo here is a car guy, a vehicle guy.
yeah.
And so you were racing when you were a teenager, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you did it professionally.
I started driving, in England when I was like 12. And when I moved back to America, well, I got some really good lessons. Let me just put it that way. I got my license taken away for having 2 accidents in the same day.
What?
It was stupid. It was slick roads, and I didn't know anything about slick roads. So
It
anyway.
happens.
Yeah.
And
So,
but the
I do have a
judge.
question about. Sorry to interrupt. I do have a question about the racing. Do you have any
Yeah.
contact with anybody in the hydroplane racing? Speedboats.
No, not at all.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Because I've got
Just
a really good friend who is actually in contention in the 90s for a world championship in hydroplanes up in New England.
I've been to a couple of hydroplane races, but I never knew any of those people, and I knew a lot of
Fair
the
enough.
race car drivers, from NASCAR, for instance.
Yeah, I know from talking to my friend that they all kind of ran in the same circles, and everybody had networks and links to everybody else in every other series. So
Yeah,
I just had to ask.
exactly. But yeah, I was real good friends with Dale Earnhardt, for instance.
There was actually somebody in chat saying that you look similar to Dale Earnhardt.
Well,
that was Tidewater. Go figure.
So, yeah, of course.
Go figure. Yeah.
But like, that was a cool story. Like when you told me about this, like you sat down with him at a bar and didn't know.
Yeah, 1980, and yeah, I was in an actual cup race in 1980. So, but I was sitting in a bar and he came in, and it was near my hotel, which was, it was in Ontario, California. And I don't know, this guy just came in and sat down, and we just started talking, and he ordered himself a Budweiser, of course, and I didn't know who he was. It was 1980. It was just, he'd only started racing like the year before. So I didn't know who he was. And we started talking about the race, and I was starting, I think, 26th or something in the race. And I asked him where he was starting. He says, it doesn't matter. All I got to do is start the race to win the championship. It was the next to last race of the year. And he had so many points that, he just had to start the Ontario race and he'd win. Then they went to Atlanta, was the last race of the year. And he'd be crowned champion there. But all he had to do was start it. And I went, oh my, really? I said, who do you think you are, Dale Earnhardt? He goes, yeah, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, shit. It was dark. What can I say?
Fair.
We hit it off pretty well. And we walked back to the hotel, and there was a bunch of drivers sitting around this campfire. And one guy was sitting there playing his guitar and stuff like that and singing songs. And it was, pretty interesting. And then, I mean, I didn't win the next race, of course. I didn't win any of them, but I did pretty decent. But that's how I met Dale. So
finishing a cup race is an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah. Because back then, cars broke down and stuff like that. It was my last race, so but I found other things to do after that. So,
hell, even just starting in a cup race is an accomplishment.
Yeah. Well, it was California. I lived in California, and the California races, the people from, back down south and East Coast and stuff like that, not all of them would come out to California. So there would be a lot of empty spots, and they had to fill 42 drivers. So there might be 30
drivers. It's a shit ton.
Yeah. There might be 30 cup drivers that were regulars, so they'd fill them in with people who were in the Wentz and West series and stuff like that, like me. So,
and Formula One only has 20 cars on the track.
Yeah,
when they're all running.
Now cup cars there's only 40 spots now for the cup, and there's rarely 40 drivers in the race. So it's usually like 35 or 36 or sometimes 38. Tomorrow in Talladega is going to be kind of a full race. So
yeah, I'm more interested in the F1 race in Imola tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be able to watch it live because it'll be at 8 a.m. and I won't be home. So
yeah. Well, Formula One is like follow the leader. whoever qualifies.
This year's actually really exciting because it's an all new car, like ground up.
Yeah, same with NASCAR.
They completely. The FIA wanted to completely overhaul the cars because the last like 5 years nobody was able to pass because they didn't. As soon as they stepped out of the slipstream, they lost all their as soon as they got into the slipstream, they lost all their downforce, so they couldn't actually drive. So
so nobody would try to pass because they knew they'd go backwards instead of forward.
Yep. But this year they completely redesigned the car, completely new rule books, new aero, new engines, new chassis, everything from the ground up. And it's actually nice to see because you're actually able to see teams that have been kind of, middle of the pack and bottom of the pack, and now they're actually competing. Because everybody's starting off from the same place. You don't have Mercedes out there with
same thing with the cup race. The cup race is it's a brand new car. They've even got the one central lug nut now in the Cup Series, and nobody really knows how to drive those cars. So they've had all different kinds of winners, that never won before.
Yeah, it's actually really nice to see these kind of big changes that happen because it gets rid of the domination of one team year after year after year. It's like,
Right.
oh, who's going to win the championship this year? Oh, it's Mercedes again. Great.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
they could
Lewis
dump the most
Hamilton.
money into it.
Well,
Yeah.
the FIA actually has budgets capped. Like if your team wins in Formula One, if you win the constructors championship or the drivers championship or both, your budget for the next year is actually lower than the team that came in last.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, they say that, but like, budget's capped. Like, meanwhile, my state's budget's been capped, but they taxed us by like $2.7 billion extra because they could.
Well, the difference is that when you're a team like Mercedes and you're one of the constructors who builds your own chassis and your own engines, and you're the one selling the engines to the other teams and selling chassis to the other teams, you get a little bit more development leeway.
Yeah. You get to kind of do what you want because you're such a big name in it already. Like, it almost doesn't happen without you. So
yeah, it's actually kind of nice to see Mercedes getting knocked down a peg or two this year. Currently, Ferrari's on top.
Well, I mean, Ferrari's been pretty up there for a while. So in a lot of stuff, not really Formula One, but
they've been in the top third for Formula One for the last few years, but this year they're actually on top right now.
Fair. They're doing better than the Japanese, so.
Well, Japanese only have one driver in Formula One. They don't actually have any teams that they own in Formula One. Red Bull technically has two teams. They have the Red Bull team, and then they have the AlphaTauri team. The AlphaTauri team is kind of their development team where they put their rookie drivers and let them grow.
Fair. Do you watch any of the weird Formula Ones where they have like all the cars that run off like hydrogen or electric and shit? Or do you watch just the regular one?
Oh, like Formula E and F2 and F3.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know. Some of those weird, because Japan's got a lot of them in the fucking hydrogen division. They have a lot of kind of Formula One cars that run off hydrogen. That's their big thing because they kind of pioneered that technology. Yeah. But then it's no fun because you don't get all those cool methanol fires.
So, yeah. Well, hydrogen fires are not much fun either.
or lithium fires.
Yeah, batteries. I don't think people realize how bad lithium batteries burn, but
yeah.
God. So Dennis, back in the day, how many, like, since we're on this topic of like, how many catastrophes did you see, like, where cars are just done?
Oh yeah, I saw a lot. I wasn't involved in any, thank you, but I saw quite a few. You know, I mean, when Earnhardt was killed, I was right there, and my wife at the time, Desiree, she was completely never got over it, never did. But you know, I saw a whole bunch of people that I called friends, you know, like hit the wall and get buried the next week. So, you know, it was not good.
So did you ever see things that where they didn't hit the wall? It wasn't in the driving itself, but like it was just the engine blew up or, you know, something like that, like before the race even started or while it was going on?
Well, you know, when I was racing, you know, they had a lot of failures. There'd be engines blowing up and gas tanks, especially because they didn't have that figured out yet. And gas tanks, especially, somebody get hit from behind and there'd just be a great big fireball and stuff, you know. And so you definitely didn't want to be involved in that. But yeah, one of my father's favorite driver was Fireball Roberts, and he was involved in a wreck he turned into a fireball. So, but his name was Fireball before he.
Wow.
Yeah, and he didn't.
It wasn't necessarily.
He died like months later. It was really awful.
Right. It wasn't like I wasn't just asking for the gruesome part of it, but like just where engines failed and like people were like, okay, I'm getting out of the fucking car. Like this thing is not it's destroyed. That's actually what I was asking, and I should have worded it a little bit more specifically. But like, yeah, because
Did you see anybody throw punches like after the race? Do you see anybody like deck somebody else?
Oh, sure.
That's
Absolutely.
a big thing with race car drivers. They fight all the time, and nobody ever shows that.
Yeah. There was one last week that they showed everywhere, like two young kids, and they basically started, well, one of them was wearing a helmet, and he started punching the guy who wasn't wearing a helmet because they had a disagreement.
Oof.
So that was like, and Ty Gibbs was the young kid, and he was punching this other kid, and they were like 19 years old, and so they acted like they were 17, 16.
Oh,
yeah, just beating the shit out of each other, like without really knowing what you're doing, but like you're just gonna
not really fighting.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly, and of course you've got officials all over you, but yeah, I never had any kind of a problem like that myself.
Yeah, if you really want to win a fight, you hit them with your car when they get out.
That has happened.
Yeah,
that has happened. Yeah,
that's not good.
I mean, to be fair, you're driving this really expensive car that's not yours, so who cares? Run them over.
And most of the body's just cheap sheet metal anyway.
Yeah, they'll bounce right off of it. They won't even get hurt all that much.
Yeah, this year they're carbon fiber
for
the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. They go carbon fiber bodies for the, they tried it with the Xfinity Series, which is used to be called the Busch Series, but Xfinity
call it the Busch Series because then I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, it's just it's the next step down.
Yeah,
it's like Formula 2, whatever you want to call it, but it's they tried out the carbon fiber bodies and it worked out last year, so they've mandated it for Cup this year, and which is great because you start rubbing with somebody and you don't pop your tires and you hit the wall and you say, okay, well, it's going to pop right back out, so I'm good, and
I stopped watching NASCAR when Dale Jarrett was still racing.
Yeah, Dale Jarrett.
His last Cup. That's what I've heard. He was my driver to follow.
Yeah.
I was so happy in '99 when he won the Cup.
Mm-hmm.
With the Ford Quality Care number 88 Taurus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I think the next year he got the UPS sponsorship, and he really didn't care about actually winning after that.
Well, I think he cared, but anyway, it was.
Well, I've gotten his championship, so
I got a Ford Quality Care jacket, leather jacket, and a UPS jacket too.
Wow.
Nice.
Oh shit.
But no, I always defended him when people were like, "Oh, he was the Cup championship in '99. He hasn't done anything since." I'm like, "Why? He already proved that he can do it.
He doesn't need to."
Yeah, he doesn't need to.
He raced the last couple of years of his career. He never finished higher than midfield. It's like he doesn't need to push himself that hard. All he's doing is making money now.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know when to quit. I think I knew when to quit, so I just quit. So.
When did you?
And
quit?
then I moved to Florida, so whatever.
Yep. When did you quit, Dennis?
1980.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That was my last.
Jeez, none of us were even twinkles in 1980. I was still 5 years away from being a twinkle in 1980.
Dang.
Yeah, I haven't raced professionally since then, but I've driven real fast. I'm very famous for
tickets, right?
No, I got a speeding ticket once for going 145 in a 55, but I beat it in court. So,
well, why'd you slow down?
I want to hear that story. I want to hear the not the story about the speeding ticket. I want to hear the story about beating it in court.
Oh, yeah. I was driving a Mercedes and I was on I-10 heading towards Indio, California, and there was nobody really on the road, and I didn't really pay attention to how fast I was going, and I think it was an 82. Yeah, it was an 82, and I was just zipping along, driving my, driving. Nobody could catch me. So let me put it that way. Nobody could catch me, and they had a helicopter trying to get me, but I was going faster than the helicopter could go. So they called ahead and everything, and I went through Blythe, California, and I got to the Colorado River and was going over the bridge, and of course I'd slowed down when I got to the city. I looked and I went like, okay, maybe I ought to slow down, but there was no traffic, and it was in the desert. There's no trees or anything, so you could really tell how fast you're going. And so I did back off, and I don't even think we in race cars you didn't have a speedometer, so you didn't even look, So I slowed down, and when I crossed the bridge, there were a whole bunch of you see here's a bridge and here's a bunch of patrol cars on the other side, and I slowed down, and they said, pull over to the side, and I pulled over to the side, and they said, okay, you're getting a ticket for going 155 miles an hour. But it was Arizona. I wasn't speeding in Arizona. They gave me a ticket in Arizona. So they couldn't catch me in California. So
because it was out of jurisdiction, you got them on like a technicality.
Totally.
Yeah.
That would never happen today.
No, I don't think it would actually, but but it happened. I mean, I got several tickets for really stupid stuff. I had a Rolls Royce at one point, and I got pulled over for driving on the wrong side of the car. So literally,
it's a right-hand drive car.
The cop actually looked at me and said, "You in a heap of trouble, boy." And I went like, "Do you really say that? Did he really say that?"
Does he not understand that like there's like 3 countries on Earth that drive with the steering wheel on this side of the car?
Yeah. I didn't argue with him or nothing. I just took it to court, and he goes, "What is this driving on the wrong side of the car?" They also got me for speeding for like going 95 miles an hour and on Denver Central Expressway in Dallas. But and they gave me a ticket only because they
there.
Huh?
Everybody goes 95 miles an hour there
now, but they didn't back in 1971. So, and they knew how fast I was going because you had to get a ticket, and then when you got to the end, you gave them the ticket and they stamped it, and they knew it was a time stamp.
Speed.
Yeah, and that was my average speed was 95, so they had no idea how fast I was going. So, but anyway, they took that to court, and I got rid of that charge too. But the driving on the wrong side of the car was the judge thought that was extremely funny.
Well, I mean, yeah, you better arrest all the people that work for the post office. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, he said,
your fault that the manufacturer put the steering wheel on the wrong side.
What is this RR? What kind of car is that? RR. I said Rolls Royce, and he goes, "Oh, okay, never mind. You ain't getting a ticket. No, you're not getting anything. Get out of here."
Judge probably felt sorry for you because of how poor the build quality was.
Build quality was awesome. That was
the
awesome.
Interior. Mechanically, probably not so much.
Oh,
you get in and you close the door. It would hurt your ears because it was so
heavy. The thing's like a tank.
Yeah, it is. And you turn the key, and you didn't hear anything, but you saw a light come on, and that's the only way that you knew that the car was running, because you could not hear it.
There was a whole lot of Rolls Royces back in the day where the whole, like almost the entire body was made out of one piece of sheet steel.
Yeah, Yeah, it was a tank. It really was.
Was that
So-
back in the British Leyland days, or was that a prior to British Leyland?
Probably before
Oh,
British.
it's a
Leyland,
1935 Silver Shadow.
Oh yeah,
so-
it was way
Yeah.
before British Leyland then. Yeah, that's respectable build quality then. I'll
was.
give you that.
It had been
Ugh.
been stored in a barn since 1942, and with instructions to start it every, like, I think it was 4 weeks, a month, monthly. They'd start it and let it run for 15 minutes and then shut it off once a month. And the tires were rotted.
That's an easy fix.
Well, try and find those kind of tires. I was trying to find them. I was in Dallas. I bought it at auction for $1,100.
I mean,
So, and so I was trying to find tires, and I found this Barrow Brothers Tire Company in Dallas, and they had them. I called them up. They had them. I'm going like, yay! So I go there to buy them, and I looked over, and there was a picture on the wall of Bonnie and Clyde.
Wow.
And I said, wow, that's Bonnie and Clyde. He goes, yeah, it's cousin Clyde. I'm like, cousin Clyde, what? And yeah. Clyde Barrow, huh? Yeah. And I started talking to him, and they said, yeah, Clyde's Barrow right across the street. You want to go over there? And look at the grave? I said, well, sure. And him and Buck, his brother, were buried right across the street in the cemetery. So, and
they have Rolls-Royce tires.
They had Rolls-Royce tires they had all kinds of really old stuff. I'm sure they're not there now, but they were there about when the SHOT Show was in Dallas. I went over there, and the place was still there, and I went pulled up to the cemetery, and I was going to go over and pay a visit to the grave, and had a bottle of tequila. I was going to give them a little drink of tequila and stuff like that, and there was a guy in a car sitting there, and I thought, okay, wonder what this is all about. And he was spooked. He was a fan. He was actually like a Bonnie and Clyde fan, and he knew that Clyde was buried there, but he didn't know where. He just knew that it was that cemetery. So I told him exactly where to go, and went over there and looked at it, and then I took him to where Bonnie Parker's buried. So I used to live about 2 blocks away from where that was. So,
well, that's fun.
Yeah. She has a nice little bench that you can sit at, and nice little, poems and stuff. And it smells really heavily of booze because everybody goes over there and has a drink with Bonnie. Pours it on the grave,
Jeez.
That was just the tradition. So whatever, probably still is.
Do you actually know, Dennis, how they procured, or Clyde procured that BAR and then cut it down?
Yeah. They raided a couple of National Guard armories, actually.
Oh,
just like robbed it, Nobody was there.
It wasn't like they just bought it or like whatever.
No. They broke into our armory.
They got most of their stuff from robbing armories. Yeah.
No. So I'm just saying
now where they have like guards and locks and shit like that. You can just walk in. There's like one guy there, and he's a janitor.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. For the NFA, as far as that's concerned, that was a stolen gun. It wasn't purchased.
Oh no.
Well,
I'm surprised you didn't know that, Mike.
Yeah. I actually didn't. So
yeah, the NFA didn't come into being until they were killed in 1934, but it was 1933 that the NFA came into being. So there was no.
From what I remember correctly, they just kept adding shit to it. Yeah, like the short-barreled rifle, the suppressors, all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fun.
The suppressors were, to deprive during the Depression, people were like taking out deer and stuff like that, and with suppressors. You could hear them.
But the way they want us to think is like, oh, they were using crime so much. Well, a suppressor's very heavy and very big to conceal.
Yeah,
so,
no,
okay.
they weren't using crime at all. But
so it was. So okay, yeah, they were using them to take game because they were so poor. How and why, in your opinion, did that become a thing? Like, it was very last minute. I do know that. Like, I know that it was very
they
last
tacked
minute.
it on to like something having to do with handguns. Suppressors got tacked onto a law last minute, something having to do with handguns.
Well,
right,
they were mostly a lot of suppressors were used in handguns, to take game. I mean, literally, you're not supposed to be shooting anything with a 22, but more deer have been killed with a 22 than all of their weapons combined.
Long rifles killed more people too than any other caliber.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it goes inside you and bounces around.
Yeah, it's got enough energy to go in, but not enough to come back out, and so it just bounces around.
So why were suppressors added to that then? Was there like one particular? Was it kind of like the equivalent of like the Reagan shooting, where they're like, we'll take this one incident and then blow something up, or was it just?
No,
we talked about this with Matt for the longest time, and it was a lot of people that like by committee were just trying to see what they could get banned.
Yeah.
It wasn't really a particular reason or any good thing for it. They were just throwing shit and seeing what stuck.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that skirted through. And unfortunately now, even like Australia and New Zealand, where gun laws are pretty like strict, you can walk into like a gas station that happens to sell ammo and gun accessories and buy a suppressor without a license. Because they just look at it as a way to preserve hearing.
It's exactly.
People
it's considered rude
in Europe. Still loud. They're loud. They don't. It's not like a video game where a guy 10 feet away can't hear you.
Right. I know.
They're loud. They bring it like 83 decibels is where you start having hearing loss. A lot of suppressors take stuff down to like 80, which is like a jet engine taking off.
Yeah, I've shot guns with suppressors on them and everything, and it's like it's still loud, but it's not I don't have tinnitus afterwards.
It just won't permanently damage your hearing. That's all.
Right.
Here's the thing: it may temporarily damage your hearing, but it brings it just below where you will have permanent hearing damage.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah, they're fun, but they're also very heavy.
Just tacked on, and it just literally says, like you could read it. It says, "Oh, and suppressors are bad," like tacked onto a law, and it got passed. With a bunch of other shit.
That's what I understood.
Yeah.
And on top of that, it doesn't do anything if you're actually shooting supersonic ammo.
No, nothing at all.
Right.
Well, you can. The crack of the supersonic ammo is really loud, but
it's like 125 decibels.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't tell where the bullet's coming from. That's that.
Yeah,
that's
it hides the report. That's about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
And then a lot of people don't realize that just the operating of the action of a lot of guns with that much velocity and force is louder than the suppressed gun going off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like an AK or an AR, right?
Yeah.
Like that loud fucking working of the action.
22s, I mean, we had hush puppies in Vietnam. They were called hush puppies.
The Smith & Wesson 69s.
High standard with a suppressor on it, and that's to shoot guard dogs and stuff.
Yep.
So,
right. It's still very loud though. Like that's the thing is that's why I know the correct term is silencer. I know that that is. But it's a suppressor because it's like you can still hear the shot, you can still hear the round impact wherever it does, and they're very loud, but they're less loud. And
the only absolutely silent suppressed weapon that I've ever fired was a bolt action 22 firing subsonic ammo.
Right.
That was the only absolutely silent suppressed weapon I've ever fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's also you can maintain your suppressor too. Like, because I've done the same thing. I'm sorry, Dennis, and then I'll let you go. the same thing without lubing or putting any water or any sort of liquid inside the suppressor, and you can still hear it. So a suppressor is like another thing where it's like that requires as much maintenance as your fucking weapon, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, sure does.
And yeah,
the
that's
Nagant
why
revolver is what I was getting at. The Nagant revolver is 7-shot, and the cylinder makes a seal, and it's subsonic, so that would make absolutely no noise except for the clicking of the hammer and the click, literally, but but it would still make a noise, but not that much a noise.
Yeah,
but I've had
like a gunshot.
22s that where you just go like, and you could hear the action going, but you couldn't hear anything else. And whatever you shot would never hear anything ever again. So
right. And there's that.
You wouldn't want to take a shot much more than about 10 yards with one, though.
Right. Yeah. They were for close range for sure.
Right. And it's like how many situations are going to be in where you're using 22 subsonic rounds out of a rifle length barrel, and it's like, no, I want to be able to put a suppressor on a firearm so I can go out there and shoot out earplugs.
I was gonna say, it meant like hunting, okay? Like,
yes.
What you're supposed to be listening for game.
Right.
Yep.
So you could either have your earplugs in all the time and not hear shit, possibly miss something.
Right.
Or you have to somehow quietly and slowly put your earplugs on and potentially miss your shot if you don't want to lose your hearing.
Well,
or you lose your hearing.
Yeah.
Adrenaline though, will make it where you can't hear the shot. I never have heard any shots. I never wear earplugs.
That's very true. It's very true. Like, because I've never hunted with the Ear Pro ever, and I've killed a lot of deer and whatever. And while you might hear the vague tinnitus afterwards for the next few minutes, you just hear like that's it. That's all you hear is when you have adrenaline going. So that's a good point.
The last deer that I shot was just a couple years ago, and I used my very heavily modified Savage 30-06, and it's got a massive muzzle brake on it just because I hate recoil. And shooting it at the range, I need like two sets. I need earplugs and earmuffs because it's so damn loud. People actually hate it when I show up at a public range with that thing because of how loud it is.
Like a Hakeem,
and
and
it has zero recoil. I'm shooting 168 grain hand loads, and the thing weighs 15 pounds. It has zero recoil.
Yeah,
and it's quarter MOA or less. And I shot one round at a deer just a couple years ago. Didn't fucking hear it.
Right.
Sitting in my deer blind and didn't hear it.
Yeah, it just sounds like a.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
I didn't even. And like I said, that thing had no recoil when you're shooting it off of a bench. But fuck, is it heavy?
Yeah, you don't want to lug that out into the woods. That's for sure.
I have.
The last deer that I shot, I actually have this on video on my channel. I shot a deer with my K31 that I've had forever, and it's loud as fuck. It's got a loud pop to it because it's short and it's a pretty high velocity round. And I was using Wolf 174 grain soft points, so it's loud. And bam, didn't hear that shot. And then I was like, when I was filming my video, I realized that I had tinnitus. It was like ringing and all that shit. And I'm like, okay. But I was like, yeah. So I just pulled this deer out. I killed it, and I'm about to gut it out. And all of a sudden, I was like, oh, fuck, there's another deer there. So I put my phone in my pocket, and then I just went, bam, nailed it again. Did not hear that shot either. It was just, I heard the aftermath of the echo through the valley.
Right.
And then the tinnitus and everything, but like, you don't actually hear the shot. So yeah, that's a very good point, Dennis. Like I didn't even thought about that. You don't actually hear the shot.
Does crazy stuff. It really does.
Oh, it makes you superhuman. Makes
give you
superhuman.
tunnel vision, everything.
Yep.
You know.
Jeez. Last year I shot, I went deaf because I guess I wasn't so adrenaline up. But yeah. So.
Well, I get adrenaline up because it's a primal instinct of like, don't fuck this up. You're going to put food on your family's table. That's kind of like my
exactly
instinct.
why I was calm. I've done this 1,000 times before for that exact reason.
Okay, here we go. I grew up in Canada. Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, you live off the land. You kill stuff all the time. So, like, for me, it's just a walk in the park. But yeah, I damn near went deaf. And I remember, like, fuck, I wish I put earplugs in the second I pulled the trigger.
Yeah, it's loud. Rifles are really fucking loud.
Yeah.
Really loud. And but that's cool. Yeah, it's I mean, hunting, I'm gonna probably do it this year because A, meat is getting very expensive.
Very expensive. Holy shit.
It's a great experience to go out there and actually harvest your own game. And I don't get it processed. I process it myself. I cut it up. I skin it. I donate the hides to a place that makes gloves for homeless people or mittens. And so I donate that. And then I use all the shit. I make bone broth, venison bone broth, which is really good. And so I try to use every part of the deer that I can. It's just so primal, and it gets you back to like the human roots of like, yeah, we've got society, we've got civilization. But when you go out and hunt, it brings you back down to, oh, I'm an animal, but I'm a superior animal. And it's like it's a weird thing, but it's really cool.
Well, Deb's folks live in Arkansas. She's from Arkansas, and she's got a big family in Arkansas. And we go there probably 4 times a year, 5 times a year to visit. And every single time, they give us all kinds of venison and wild pig, stuff like that.
It's so good.
They shoot the shit out of a bunch of animals there, you know, and they've got, you know, wild boars or in curs. They're just here in Florida. You can shoot them at night from a helicopter with a machine gun.
Yep, same in Texas. Yeah, and it's like
And I actually want to go hog hunting.
Dude, I have a resource. I have a guy, and I'm sure Dennis does too. I have a guy in Texas that will give us a big discount for. I would use a G3 or an FAL. That's what I would use.
I was going to use a 12 gauge.
Well, if
you're
a
helicopter,
no, I'm talking helicopter. Yeah, so you could use my FAL or G3 or whatever the fuck, you know, whatever. But did you harvest those things? And you can either keep them or they can donate them. But like, hey,
I want to take one home and put it in the freezer.
That's what I mean. Because
I've heard that sage-fed wild boars are just so delicious.
They are incredible. And
it's still the sweet meat you get from a feedlot kind of hog, right, Dennis?
Yeah.
So it's a very sweet meat.
Yeah, it's excellent, absolutely excellent. Yeah, but we have I've got a freezer full of venison right now, and I didn't shoot any of them. But, you know,
no, venison is it's one of those meats. I think personally, like, this is totally anecdotal, hyperbolic. I think venison is one of those meats that's better than beef because we were able to harvest venison, you know, whether it be by caribou or deer throughout history. Humans are designed and everything to process that specific kind of meat. Cows, they were wild animals when you got one, cool, but like they weren't like domesticated and farmed like they are now. Same thing with buffalo, right? Buffalo bison is very good. It's so delicious. And it's just a matter of like the way they're farmed and everything. But like when people say they have a gamey taste, it's like, well, you don't know how to cook it then.
Yeah.
You know, with venison, it's like if you cook it right, which is not that hard at all.
Well, if you kill it right, you got to kill it right. You can't shoot it and let it run off.
That's another thing, the adrenaline. And like, that's why I said I made a video a while back. And so when I go deer hunting, I carry a sidearm. And it's really not for, I'm going to defend myself against bears because like it's not going to happen. I carry a rifle. I want to shoot that deer, And if I walk up to that deer after I place a good shot, because I don't take shots that aren't good.
Right.
If I only
me
have an
neither.
ass shot, I pass it. It's done. It's not going to happen. But if I get a good shot and I go up there and the deer is still alive and suffering, I usually use a Tokarev. I usually use an M57, and I go up right behind its skull and I go, "Pew," it's done. Like point blank,
Right.
it's done. It's over with. And that also ends the suffering, but it also minimizes the adrenaline that's going through the
Right.
muscles.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the venison tastes, oh god, fresh cut venison tenderloins
Pretty
the same
awesome.
day. Oh god,
There's
Fair.
nothing
delicious.
better.
It's
Fair.
delicious, and you get that primal bond, which it sounds weird, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like that
Yeah.
primal bond when you
Well,
harvest
stuff
that
just tastes
animal,
better because you killed it. You went through all this
and
work.
it's like, and you also appreciate it. It's like
Mhm.
you appreciate that animal giving its life so you can
Yeah.
sustain, and it tastes so good.
So much better. Fair.
And like this I don't think food should be an industry, right? This is a
No.
controversial stance. It should not be an industry. You should get 90% of your food, in my opinion, from about within 50 miles of where you live.
Well, good. I got 6 McDonald's within.
Jesus Christ.
What?
Literally, one of them's across the street. He can see it from his window.
Pretty much. I mean, like it's like 2 blocks away. So like,
That's great, Devin. But you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I would call that food.
that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is definitely an industry where people
It-
eat and they make tons of money. So
they make tons of money, and you eat shit that sustains you for a couple hours, if that.
I
and
mean,
then-
I did have a
And then you shit your
McGangbang.
guts out.
I had a McGangbang for the first time on camera with Mike there, not
Yeah,
that
I
long
didn't.
ago.
I didn't have it, but like it's no McGangbangs are good. They're delicious. Dennis, do you ever heard of a McGangbang?
No.
You gotta
So
go buy one.
It's a
They're awesome.
millennial
If you-
thing.
if you ever go to McDonald's, which is a fat chance, but like here's the thing. Go there, you have to get a McDouble, which used to be on the dollar menu, which it's not anymore, but whatever. Get a McDouble, okay? And a McChicken sandwich. You take the McDouble and you split it in the middle of the two patties, right?
Uh,
You place the McChicken in that spot, and then you cap it with the McDouble top, right?
Bread and all.
You squeeze it together, and you bite.
yeah.
Yep.
It's actually like surprisingly good. I actually was like,
It's really good. But
I was
like,
it's still
going into
McDonald's.
it, I was like, that's disgusting, and I was like, it's actually surprisingly good.
Well,
It has
I
been
have
so
a
many years since I've eaten at a McDonald's that it would probably kill me right now.
oh,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
I have a
fair.
love-hate relationship with bread, so I would probably
Yeah,
take
I
the
can't-
bread off.
Dude, I have celiac, so I can't eat wheat bread.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, I can't do it. But like, I brought Devin there, and I was like, yeah, here's what I used to do before I
It's on
realized
camera.
that. Like,
You could watch it on Mike's YouTube channel right now. Me
Yeah.
eating a
yeah, it's a
McGangbang.
while back, but
Yeah, there was a gangbang
But
in
no,
my
it's,
Chevy Impala. It was a good time.
Wow.
What was
Yeah, it
even
was
better
fun.
was when Fudbusters went to Culver's for the first time.
Yeah, on stream. Yeah,
On
Fun-
stream.
yeah.
I was there
Culver's.
for that.
Yeah,
yeah, Matt.
There's
the
like
guy
one
that bought
Culver's
the,
in all of Florida, and it's only like 5 miles from
Right.
his house.
yeah.
Yeah, the guy, Dennis, that bought the P4 from you. He on a live stream, we were talking about Culver's. I don't know if you've ever been to one before. It's pretty good for
It's a
fast
Wisconsin
There's
food.
one
It's-
like
chain.
10 miles away. So he puts
Well,
on his
for-
like Packle hat from Afghanistan, and he looks like a terrorist already because he's like Moroccan, and he goes through the drive-through at Culver's with this fucking Packle hat on, and he gets like cheese curds and like root beer and like a butter burger and all, and then they fucked up his order, so he walks in still with the hat on, filming the whole time. Yeah. And he's like,
live streaming,
yeah.
and then eats it. And he's like, "This is actually really fucking good for fast."
Yeah, he's
food.
like, "It's
This is
awesome."
really good. Yep.
It is. Culver's is hands down the best fast food restaurant
It
out
is
there.
the
It's
best.
still
And that's
fast
the thing is,
food,
too, is
but it's
Yeah.
best.
and they also have gluten-free buns.
that's-
So yeah, once in a while I'll
You
go
go,
there
Dennis.
and
You're on live stream. You should take your phone right now or computer and get in your car and drive to
dude,
Culver's.
that's like 40 miles from where Dennis lives. Like, Jesus Christ.
And
There's
far are you
probably
from West
more
Palm?
here's the
in
thing.
Florida than
I
just
don't think
one.
there is one around here. I've never seen one.
after
Well,
after
how
high
far are you
school,
from
I
West
actually
Palm?
worked in a Culver's. I actually worked in the kitchen of a Culver's for almost a year,
Hey,
and
Jake, hey,
I still
who
eat
gives
there.
a fuck?
Fuck
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. No, but it's how far are you from West Palm?
About 300 miles.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not anywhere near it, Devin.
That's just a hop, skip, and a jumping away for a truck driver.
That's fair.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my my opinion of distance is a little bit skewed. When somebody says, "Oh, it's only 200 miles away," I'm like, "Oh, let's go."
Let's go. Yeah.
I'll be in
But-
Fort Lauderdale in a week. Actually,
Dennis
exactly.
also drives around the fucking country to get firearm collections. So yeah, 300 miles to him is nothing either. So
Yeah.
you're trying to flex your fucking big dick. Oh, I'm a trucker. Shit.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
we drove 3,470 miles in less than a week.
That's respectable.
About a month ago. Yeah.
The most I ever did legally was 3,400 miles in a week, and that was following hours of service regulations. So that was driving maximum of 11 hours a day.
Holy shit! There's actually a ton of Culvers in Florida. There's like 90 of them.
Yeah, because wasn't Matt saying that somebody bought or you were saying that somebody bought a franchise down there?
There's so many of them. They're
I've never
all
seen
over,
them.
actually.
I guess I'm not looking for them, so I don't see them.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. It's like it's a blue oval that says Culver's in white lettering, and it's weird. But here's the thing, Dennis. You have to hold on, Jake. You have to fucking the first time you have Culver's, if there's one around you, you have to do it on a live stream. Just keep up with the Floridian tradition, like Matt did. You have to do it on a live stream, and because it actually for fast food. So I had a lot of friends that have been up to Wisconsin before they started franchising, and like I've had In-N-Out Burger, I've had fucking Jack in the Box, Five Guys, blah blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, let's go here, and they got just a regular double butter burger with the works and all that shit, and they eat it. They're like, okay, this is fucking delicious. Like this is the best fast food burger you can possibly get.
Pretty much.
Like all of them.
Make a good walleye sandwich for Lent.
Yeah, the walleye sandwich.
Everyone else does like cod or something terrible. They get like actual walleye.
Oh wow!
For their fish sandwich.
And all of their fish is hand breaded. Like when you order your sandwich, the fish is
right there,
just a fillet. It's a fillet sitting in a refrigerated pan, not a frozen pan. They take it, they dip it in the batter, they dip it and they drop it in the deep fryer when you order it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, because like you said, Jake worked there, and it's honestly like what fast food should be.
They don't freeze their hamburger. Period.
Right.
Their hamburger comes in big packages, and it's like little hockey pucks. It's like that big around, and they're like that thick, and then they actually press them out right on the top of the grill.
Wow.
And so
think about Dennis. You'll have to let Mike know if you go to a Culver's.
I'm gonna write it down right now.
Yep.
Because I've literally never heard of them. So.
Yep. They're a Wisconsin-based company, and it was mainly a Midwest thing, a very upper Midwest thing for years, and people started buying franchises. So
well,
it's good stuff, though.
Well,
I don't know where in Culver's you are, but there are a lot of them.
There's like 70 fucking Culver's in Florida. They're all over.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
where-
put the same list. I'm
I've
like,
got
"It's
my
fucking
VPN
everywhere
on,
in
so I
Florida."
can't. I've got my
Where-
VPN on, so I can't actually access that website.
They're everywhere in Florida.
Yeah,
They're all
I'll
over.
find one. I'll find one. But anyway, I'm gonna
Yep.
hit the hey.
Yep, no worries, man.
Yeah, I think I got it too because I'm trying to get my sleep schedule back on track.
Oh yeah.
Sleep.
I mean, I gotta wake up at midnight most days, so
Mm. Yeah, we're going
Thank
to Fort Lauderdale in a week. We're actually going on a transatlantic cruise from Fort Lauderdale to Amsterdam, and on the 30th. So, and then
Union
after we
Cruises.
get, and then we're gonna zip around Europe for about a week, and then fly back from Manchester, England to Daytona. And then a couple of days later, we're flying to Seattle, and we're going on another cruise to Alaska. So
Alaska.
I'll be out of the commission until about June the 5th or 6th. So
Well,
Sweet.
there is a Culver's near Fort Lauderdale. It's
Oh,
in
yeah.
Margate, Florida.
Yeah.
Jesus.
well, I'm going
It's
down
on
there to
50.
get on a cruise. I'm going down there to get on a cruise ship. I'm not going to be thinking about
It'd be
food.
more enjoyable if you had a Butterburger in you though before you
Oh,
got on the
really?
ship. So
And don't forget the custard, the frozen
Yeah.
custard.
Frozen custard is
Thir-
delicious.
13% milk fat. That's what they use to make their ice cream. Is 13% milk fat. It is
Wow.
so smooth and creamy.
it's 3% more than what the government says is what's required for ice cream.
Wow.
That's why it's frozen custard, not ice cream.
Right. Well, custard
Ah.
just has eggs in it. Ice cream doesn't.
Depends on the custard
That's fair.
because
Jesus
their
fucking
ice cream
Christ.
does not have eggs in it
Well, then how is it custard?
because it has 13% milk fat.
The custard's a French thing that says it has to have eggs in
Oh,
it.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I didn't
All right.
invent custard,
Grab a
but it doesn't
dictionary.
have eggs in it.
Let's end this bitch
All right.
on a good note. We're talking about frozen custard.
I
All
want
right,
some
gentlemen.
now.
All right, all the viewers, thanks for watching so much. We'll see you
Yeah.
on the next Friday or Saturday or Wednesday or
Whenever.
whatever the hell we do. Night
Thanks
Shite.
for the invite. Nice
We're
to meet you,
in a month
Dennis.
and change. Yeah.